I mean, I think that should be a Mr. Beast challenge. Do your best Mr. Beast face.
That's the clip.
It's officially 2023 now for everyone. The new year is here. Everyone's making goals. I hope you saw our last episode because today we're going to be talking about how we're actually going to achieve them. That's right. We're breaking down our downright plan, everything we're doing month by month, and how we're going to become giant content creators to take on PewDiePie. My name is Eljay. I'm here, one of the hosts of the Stream Room podcast, and I'm joined by the boys.
Hello, it's me, Reapz, another one of the boys, but let me pass it on to the best boy, Nick.
Oh, me again?
No, it's Nick. What is this? I'm sorry, Nick. They took it from you.
No, that's okay. That's all right. Listen, I know he's just craving attention. It's understandable, you know. He's just going through that phase. But hi, my name's Nicktacular. Hello.
So it's, you know, we haven't spoken all year.
Oh, that's. I did so many jokes like that on the stream, and it was great. But I would like to mention very quickly, it is episode 52, which means we have done an entire year. And if you'd like to give us some likes as like a present, or maybe some comments, maybe share it with some friends, family, whatever you think is best that wants to learn about content creation, you'd be my bestie for 2023 is all I can say.
Parasocial, just saying.
Hey, that's the new strat going into 2023. That's how I'm
yeah. His new strat. He's going to lean into it. I said that on stream like 6 months ago. I was just done with streaming and I was sat there and someone was like, oh, so telling people, I said like, hey, thanks so much for the subs, guys. It really helps me out. And someone said like, oh, I'm getting a little emotional there, LJ. It's a bit parasocial. And I said, yeah, f it. If you sub, I like you better.
It's true. You've given me money and I feel more inclined to say that and everything in between.
Just human nature. You can't avoid it.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
A new year, a new set of goals, and my brain just like checked out halfway through that sentence.
He jumped in there to get.
I did, and then I was just like,
you did the 2023 like hangover thing where it's like the next day you're like, I'm awake, I love 2023, but your mind's checked out. You're like, you got the hangover, you got everything. But by the way, boys, let's talk briefly about what did you get up to on your New Year's Eve? I can start very quickly. I had a lovely pub grub. I went to like this local micro brewery, had a little pub grub, and then I went up to Sydney Park here in Australia because I didn't want to go into the city because, you know, crazy amounts of people. And I looked at the fireworks from afar. Like you can imagine me with opera glasses just being like, yes, this is adequate. And that was pretty much it. And then I had to work the next day at my casual job. But it was a good night. I had a lot of fun.
Oh, very nice.
I went to my mates and we got there at like 6:45. We hung out until 10 and then I went home because I'm not staying up till midnight. No. All right. I'm not doing it. At least I'm not staying up midnight at someone else's house. And then when I got home, Claire went to bed, and between like 10:30 and midnight, I just scripted out and planned short format content. That's really all it was. And I'm glad I did. I came up with like a really cool idea. And then the next day, January 1st, I recorded 35 shorts.
35?
Hell
you recorded them, but you haven't edited 30. Because if you edited 35 shorts, I'll be like, holy...
I recorded 35 shorts. Okay. And then yesterday, I recorded 25. So I now have 60 shorts fully recorded. And half of them I'm going to edit this month. And then I'm either going to give them to someone else or I'm going to edit them myself next month. And I'll have all of them done. And the idea is that from February 1st, I will have a short going out every second day, and I will have 4 months worth of content already scheduled and planned out. I want to have them all edited and turned around before Feb 1st.
Nice. That sounds real good.
That's awesome.
Nick, what did you get up to on your New Year's?
Honestly, not much. I worked all day on New Year's Eve, came home, got some takeout, we sat on Discord with Kirsty for a bit, and then she had to be up very, very early for her flight here. So we actually have a one member live studio audience today. So she's literally on the other side of my desk. So that was, we didn't really get up to much because she had to go to bed super early. So then we just hung out and chilled on New Year's Day. So that was our New Year's celebration.
That's a lovely way to bring it in, isn't it? That is lovely.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Today I really wanted to talk about, because I listened back to last week's episode and there was a lot of discussing of what you wanted to do. But to be honest, no one actually said really how they were going to do anything.
Okay.
And I figured leading on from it, I thought it'd be a good idea if we broke up the idea of like what plans do we actually have in place in our head to get on top of it? And I can throw out there that one thing that I'll definitely need to be aware of is how much time I spend playing Destiny. I know we talked about this and you guys have yours as well.
Yep.
You guys got your Steam replay of 2022,
oh,
right?
Oh, love Steam. I think this is a great kind of incentive that Steam's done because every year, I was talking to Nick before the pod today, you know how Spotify does their Wrapped every year and everyone posts their Wrapped, like this is the most listened to, da-da-da-da-da. This is great for us gamer nerds where it's like, this is your breakdown of how many games you played, how many demos you played, how many friends you added, the amount of percent. I've got a percentage here of games played with keyboard and mouse and games played with a controller, like 65% keyboard and mouse. It's crazy and I love it and I hope they continue to do this every year and maybe make it even more intricate.
I think it's going to be really fun. Also, I think Reapz, yours is going to be very interesting because since you do play a lot of Overwatch, that's through Battle.net, not through Steam. So I'm really curious to see what your top games are.
Also, yours is going to be so thrown off just from the fact of how many different Steam games you play for stream.
Yeah.
Right? Like for me, I feel like a lot of the games that I play for stream aren't necessarily on Steam. They're like on Nintendo or somewhere else. So I don't know. I'm curious.
Yeah. I can tell you. How about I kick it off here, boys? Basically, the most kind of played games are Fall Guys. I think it was...
No shock.
Oh, yeah, I know, right? Okay, so what the games you played this year? So it's just giving me a grid view of like all the things, but I can tell you right now, it's like Marbles on Stream, Plate Up, which was obviously an amazing one there, The Quarry, Mortuary Assistant, Jackbox, Party Packs, obviously. So I would say my most played games on Steam are the kind of interactive ones. And I must say, I'm very happy that up there as well is the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe Edition. And feels so good that that is in my top play games because goddamn did I love that game and explored every single facet of it. So yeah, how about you boys?
Well, I think in terms of like most played, for me, it was Destiny. I really went ham on it. No one's shocked to hear that either. Like,
no,
I think it was like,
no surprises.
I think if I look, it's 57% of my total play time in the year. Ooh. So I spent almost, I spent over half, 190 played sessions. My biggest streak was 21-day streak, which was September through October. And the reason was because one of the seasons was ending and I really wanted to make sure I perfected the whole season. Blame Jack Buzzer as well for that, by the way, because he legitimately dragged me into raids and shit like that. Elden Ring, I played Elden Ring for a big chunk of time, to be honest, but only February, March, and April. And then every other time I played it was literally like, I'm gonna play for like 30 minutes.
Okay.
Oh no, they haven't patched the performance issues. I'll bounce off. Okay, no patch for the performance issues yet. Okay, bounce off. So I would love to go back and finish Elden Ring, but I don't know if it's ever going to be at a place where I can play it and feel good about it.
Okay.
Which sucks.
Just quickly, have you seen the mod for Elden Ring someone made where they changed every enemy and boss into a Pokemon?
No, I've not.
Okay, you should definitely. I don't know what the mod's called. I saw it on Twitter the other day, where your like Mount Summon becomes one of the Scarlet Violet legendaries.
That's pretty cool.
And then literally, apparently, like all, if not most, of the enemies are just Pokemon, and even the bosses as well. So it might be something to sort of look into.
I'll have to look at it. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. In April, 5% of my playtime was Kingdoms New Lands. Have you boys ever played Kingdoms?
No, I have not.
No.
Oh, it's so good.
Okay.
2D side scroller. You pick up coins, drop coins off, like build a little town. You get invaded at nighttime. One of the best like games ever. Blew up years ago, and they've slowly kept the franchise going.
Okay.
Played a shitload of Raft. Most of that entirely offline with friends. Played it offline with friends. And then in January, this is my last one for it, but in January, I played a crap load of Skyrim Anniversary Edition.
Oh, yeah. Like, you were telling us that you love that game.
So many hours were played in that game. And I wish I'd kept going, but I played it. I picked my playthrough up on stream. And I could tell the stream was starting to... People were losing a little bit of interest. And so I just moved on from it. But I wish I could have kept playing that. That would have been good.
I think it's a good thing, though, that there are times when I think people go to a stream and they want to see, obviously, the complete playthrough of a game. And people in the back of their mind, I got to do it because, obviously, I've got to, deliver on this promise. But sometimes if you know that people aren't as engaged and you're not enjoying it, or you feel that little bit of nerves, I think it's okay at times to be like, we're not going to continue on with this game for the simple fact that X, Y, Z. Like I did that with High on Life. that new, Rick and Morty type game, where I was like, it's a fantastic game. But because it's all driven by the commentary of the gun and all the characters, I can't add anything to it. Like, I'll be talking on top of them, and it's just like, it's more taking away from what it should actually be. So I think that's interesting.
I don't like playthroughs like that.
Yeah.
Like, I really hate playthroughs like that where I feel like I can barely give my thing to it.
Yeah.
The only one I enjoyed was Detroit Become Human, which I don't know why, but for some reason, I do know why. But every time I bring up Detroit Become Human, there's always someone who decides to like fucking go hard about how it's the worst game ever made.
It's not though.
And it's like every single time I hear that, I go, dude, just take it. Have a fun time with these things, right? They'll be like, he writes women badly. Every character in that game is written badly. That's why it's fun, right? And they'll be like, the concept of racism and being mean to robots as an allegory was too heavy-handed. Yeah. Who cares? It's just meant to be a laugh, right?
Yeah.
You're supposed to laugh at it.
It's a choose your own adventure, isn't it? Like, it's basically you can do it over and over again, get all these different things. And I think the reason why it works, LJ, is because, you know, when you've got to make those choices, it does like the slow zoom in on their faces and they look like, like it's great because then, because then you can have your say. You'll be like, what do we do? What do we do? What am I going to do? Like that's it. There's
still the time ticking down and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really strange because like I feel like the people who hate Detroit, you're allowed to dislike it. But at the same time, if I say I really enjoyed it because it's kind of dumb, it's fun because it's dumb, the choices, sometimes they feel like they don't matter, but then other times just so intensely feel like it matters. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of good parts about it, but if you go into it with like an intense being like, I expect David Cage to give me a perfect story game, it's like, what? Then you're expecting miracles.
Yeah.
It's David Cage,
Right? Too much. And at the same time, it's like if someone's like, yep, I had fun, I liked the story, didn't have many complaints, like that's also, you know, also like their opinion. Like, don't on what someone likes.
It sucks because people always say to me like, oh, you know, when I was streaming on Twitch, people always say, oh, what's your favorite streaming moment? And I'd always go back and talk about this time during Detroit Become Human, which I've said on the podcast a dozen times. I won't pump it into you again, but it was just a really fun moment where I felt like it was probably the most active, the most I felt like a streamer, right? And it was great. And I was popping all these jokes off and it was hilarious. And anytime I bring that up and say like, yeah, it was one of my favorite moments, it's just like 4 or 5 people will just decide to just absolutely on me. It's like, I can't believe you enjoyed that game. It's like, dude, you are a terrible person. Like, legitimately. Like, I don't understand, because it's always whenever they've brought up something, they always do it when you say you enjoy something.
Yeah.
It's like when you laugh. It's like when you, I don't know if you guys had this, but I had a group of friends and we had a rule that if someone laughed, you could never make fun of their laugh. Right? Because a laugh is like a purely just like an intrinsic reaction of something you're enjoying. It's a purely having fun thing. And so we had this rule of, we didn't like the fact that people made fun of people who like certain ways they laughed.
Yeah.
And I always thought that was one of the best like rules you could have.
Definitely.
Because you shouldn't make people self-conscious about enjoying something.
That's the thing, laughter is a good thing. And if you make like, you poke those little holes or make them feel bad about feeling joy or like some sort of, you know, euphoric state, it's like, that's a really shitty thing to do as a human being overall. Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought it was, I just think it's weird. But yeah, Detroit Become Human, that was one of the ones where I felt like I could, with all the way the words were being said, I felt like I could give commentary to it.
Yeah.
But I think that's because the words weren't meant to be jokes, whereas the one you were playing are meant to just constantly be hammering you with the funny ha-has, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, someone mentioned that the High on Life had like a slider or a toggle for how much commentary you got from the weapons or something as well.
I didn't know. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, High on Life is great, but you want a lot of dialogue because that's the whole point of the game, right? They've recorded so much dialogue. It's Justin Roiland doing his thing. And if you're a fan of Rick and Morty, you want more of it, obviously. And again, he only does those same voices. Like, the gun's literally just Morty. You know, it's a really fun game, but I can't add more to that. Like, you know, like they're the comedians, and it's me just going, yep, I'm going to shoot this and I'm going to shoot that now. Fantastic game, but in terms of a stream game, not for me is what I should say. But boys, also, have you gone down to your playtime by month? I'm interested to see what your most, I guess, excess month was, because looking at this, it makes sense. May, June, July, that's kind of like our winter. And I had like my most time on Steam during those 3 months. How about you boys?
Same as well. I think my May was ever so slightly higher than August, but both May and August were my highest game months.
Ah.
Not for me, no. Mine's really weird, right? Because obviously I started the year streaming, right? Like I started the year streaming, so it's quite high in the sense of like Marbles on stream, Skyrim, Super Auto Pets, a little bit of Sea of Thieves, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And then it's like February, Pokemon Arceus came out, so I didn't do anything on Steam.
Yep.
I just did Pokemon, right? It's a Switch. Then it's like, oh, now you're playing Elden Ring on stream, right? And some Marbles and some Super Hot and stuff. And like, that's how it kind of works. But then I hit May, and it just aggressively starts dropping because I just stopped playing games because so many of my hours were just gone. June, I played like 6 games, and then most of it's Destiny. It all just completely dips. But then in August and September and October, those are my peak months. Because again, the Destiny season was ending and Buzzer was dragging me into raids.
Just skyrockets. I mean, for me, 66 of my game time was by no surprise Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. But then shock and horror. But was it Outer Wilds was my second most played game, followed by Cult of the Lamb and then Dyson Sphere Program.
Oh, cool. That is a good, like, kind of solid 4 games at the top there, 5 games, whatever it was.
Well, you can tell how much little gaming I did overall this year, considering Dyson Sphere Program was the game I played when I was sick with COVID, and I played that game for like basically 3 days straight. So for that to get number 4 tells you a lot.
Yeah, definitely. If you have your Steam, obviously, roundups as well, let us know in the comments what your most played games were. I'd be very interested to see if it's similar or completely opposite to what we have. But again, you do have those games that you want to play online and those games that you play offline. But it seems that for me this year, the games that I play online have been the most played online. I meant to say on stream, rather.
Yeah. I find this, I really do, as you said at the start, I really do love this trend. Yep. I like seeing like your year getting wrapped up and told like, hey, here's all these things you did. Because like there is stuff that I would have completely forgotten otherwise. Like playing Trolley Problem, that was so much fun. And I can't believe, like I almost forgotten that I did that. Or playing Ember, or like I'd never forget Inside. I wish I could forget Stray. I'm only teasing.
What do you
Stray's
mean?
a fine game.
Of the
I was
year.
just let down.
Stray Game of the Year. What are you talking about, LG? I don't understand.
It's fine. It's okay. I just personally didn't enjoy it. People are allowed to enjoy a cute cat game.
That's right. I was going to say, boys, also one that makes me feel either like a winner and a loser at the same time is when you go to the how you compare section. So if I can paint a picture, it's like you unlocked 431 achievements this year. The Steam average was 21. And I'm like, okay, I'm pretty good at that, right? You played.
I feel like that's not fair for you.
I know.
I don't think that's a fair stat for you.
It is great. I'm great at games. You played.
No,
70...
you're not. You play like a dozen horror games a week that are like $5, and they have like 20 achievements, and the achievements are like, open the spooky door.
Listen, exactly.
You did it.
And I did it well, and they want to give it to
you
me.
Don't get to
it's
have
very hard, LJ. You don't understand how hard it is. Ask Sharky, ask Walkerman. It's hard. You played 75 games this year. Steam average 5.
That's the interesting thing to me, right? So I played 40 total games this year, and then says like, Steam. This the average Steam user only played 5 different games.
I think the average Steam user is like a person that they know what they want to play. Like, with Eljay and stuff, they love Destiny. They love Civilization. They love, a particular type of strategy game or whatever it is. And they just go back to it because when you're an adult, you've only got spare time only once so often. And you want to play games that you know and love, I think. Well, with a streamer, if you're a streamer, you just play shit all the time. You just want to do a fucking banquet.
I think I was just going to quickly say, I think even before I got into content creation, I was still playing, like, I was quite an avid gamer playing a lot of different stuff. So I was still playing at least, like, and this was before, like, I was even delving more into indie games as well. And I was still playing at least 10 to 15, 20 games. Like,
right. Okay.
I was the same, Nick, yeah. I feel like, though, one thing, all right, before I got into streaming, probably similar with you, Nick, before you got into streaming, I think we were a little bit younger, probably. In fact, I know we were a little bit younger. And I think when you're a little bit younger, you're able to have a bit more time, a bit more energy to jump in and do those things. I know that, like, with a full-time job and everything these days, I do struggle to sit down and play more than like 3 or 4 games a month, right? Right. It's just how it is. And like my mate is a really good example of this. Full-time job. He's got a kid who's like 15 months or something like that. So a year and a couple months. Has 159 sessions on Steam. Okay. And that's obviously not including PlayStation. So that's just his 159 sessions are on Steam. 92% of those sessions are Destiny 2.
Wow.
And 8% of them are Raft. So I think 6 or 7 of the overall sessions were from Raft, and that's me making him play. Whereas the rest of it is just him playing Destiny. And the reason is because at the end of the day, picking up a whole new game, getting invested into it, it's honestly tough when you're burnt out from working and having a kid and doing that stuff, especially because Destiny is a game where you can jump in, play for 15 minutes and jump out, and there is no reason you can't do that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's perfectly flexible. Like, it's not like WoW, like doing wizard chores every single day where you have to like be there for 2 hours every day to get all of your dailies done. It doesn't do that to you. It's actually way, way, way more flexible for someone with a full-time job. So I think it's just a matter of people just don't naturally play many games. Like, for example, you were saying that the average is Steam average is 5. But that's not quite true, is it? Because I've got 43, Reapz has 76, Nick, you've got 40. The whole point there is the Steam average is probably, if you remove all the outliers, probably like 2.
Yeah.
Right? And it's being dragged up by people who just go through and try out a bunch of stuff, or streamers and stuff like that at the end of the day.
There's no very, very good point. And I guess it's also like, you know, that's why I like the kind of the smaller experiences. And, you know, I think why as a sort of a gaming society, we're kind of craving more single player experiences, because we're just in a sort of an environment that's just dominated by multiplayer games and more companies trying to make live services and things like that, right? Where they're trying to fight for our time. And, you know, everyone usually only will pick 1, maybe 2 sort of ongoing games to kind of commit their time to. You've got Destiny 2, Eljay, Reapz, you play Overwatch. For me, is like for Yu-Gi-Oh! And so then, you know, you're rarely going to dive into another ongoing game. And so when these single player games come out, either they're a very sort of like a short sort of condensed experience, like you know, looking at Stray or things like Inside and that kind of thing, Stanley Parable. But then, you know, even the longer experiences like God of War, like there's still gonna, you know that there's an ending. You know that if you put that time in, it'll take some amount of hours, but you know it's not gonna feel as much of a slog, because you can just kind of go through it at your own pace. Whether you just kind of binge a new single player game kind of the first week or whatever, which a lot of people tend to do. They take days off work and things like that, or you know, they just kind of work through it over like the month or so. Because that's kind of like what I've been sort of really enjoying, is just those single player experiences that, you know, I feel are worthwhile for my time, and whether they're a couple of hours long or whether they're kind of, you know, 30, 40 hours long. Like even I played Choo Choo Charles the other night, and that was only about 3-ish hours that it took me, but I still had a great time. Still a valuable time sink. And, you know, I left that being like, you know, cool. Oh yeah. Another game played, another experience that I was happy that I went through.
Yeah. Agreed.
I think if you enjoy something, it's never a waste of time, right? At the end of the day. So yeah, I think it's always good to just be picking stuff up where you can, those short ones, and just giving it a go. I know I really enjoyed playing Devour with friends. I played it once on stream, but then like once you beat a level in Devour, there's no reason to go back to that previous level again. Like you can just do that level, then the other one, the other one, the other one. So me and my mates, we literally just played through, you know, all the levels. We really enjoyed it. They released a new level. We went back, played that, but we never like felt like we had to grind through it. And I think that's like the dream, right? Where Phasmo was a little bit different. Phasmo, it kind of felt like, hey, you're enjoying this. Just keep doing the same maps and come up with your own challenges. And then they added 50 more ghosts or something, and it's useless. You can't play the game anymore. So
it's very difficult. Yeah, it's an experience, Phasmo. I really like Phasmo, but the inventory system, you can see me. It may still be up, but it took me like 5 minutes to figure out what it's trying to do. It's so hard to buy things and then put it in your inventory, and then I don't even want to go into it. It made me so angry that it's still at that state.
It can be pretty rough.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing for me that I wish they'd done, right, and this is something I think about with all games, people they think that making something work better is increasing the amount of time you spend doing something. It's like, no, it's about making the loop fun, right?
Yep.
And so one of the problems that Phasmo has is they added like 5 new machines, and then like dozens more ghosts. And so you add a few more machines and a bunch more ghosts. You've got all these new groups, right? Of like, okay, these 3 things point to this ghost. These 3 things point to that ghost. And every time you add a new item, you essentially create a whole nother option of 3 things to point to a different ghost. And it just sucks so much because like every single time you have to bring every single thing and try everything out, right? And go through and test them all. Whereas they should have made it like, hey, here's a dozen ghosts and then here's a dozen ghosts. Now, one thing about these dozen is you will know it as these ones because if you use the, let's say the green light Orby, right? It will show up these 12, but these 12 won't, right? Boom, instantly split it in half.
Yep.
Right? That is such a better way of doing it than being like, hey, here's like 30 things, here's like 30 ghosts, and there are all these different combinations and all of these intense options and stuff like that. And the way we've made the game more detailed and more like bring life back to it is just by making it harder and more complicated and giving you so much more shit to think about and test.
Yeah.
We've increased the amount of time rather than giving you tools to create a strategy.
Yep.
It's just crap.
It is.
Yeah, I left Phasmo a while ago. I haven't touched it for a long time. Just from the game itself, and also there's the whole drama around that. But yeah, it's just when they're not doing enough, like, and obviously it was run by one guy for a while, and obviously he eventually he got some extra help. But by that point, I was just kind of like, yeah, I'm just interested now. I'm moving on to other things.
I played it. Like it's one of those things where it is you just do the same thing over and over, and hopefully set your own challenges type thing. But Eljay, you were saying that last podcast we didn't go into the specifics of how we're going to achieve said goals. Is that right?
Yeah, we talked a lot about the goals, the things we wanted and stuff like that. But I don't think we really talked about our like unique or like what is our step process?
Yep.
Like what are we going to be doing? So for example, I talked a lot about how I wanted to create content that I was proud of. And I didn't really go into detail and explain that, for example, on the Eljay channel, which is the main focus, it's going to be streaming once a week. A month, right? If we break it down a month, this is my content plan about how I'm doing something. So if we break down a month, let's look at a month in the sense of 4 weeks, right? The way it works is every week we'll have 3 shorts, and then they'll have either a video or a stream. So this week it is a stream and 3 shorts. Next week it is a video and 3 shorts. Then it goes back to stream and 3 shorts, video 3 shorts, and it repeats like that for the entire year, right? Or at least until I find my footing and feel like I can increase the output of videos. And the idea of that is to give me 2 weeks to work on a video and make it as good as possible. But no one feels like they miss out on content because they still get an entire VOD left up on the stream on the YouTube channel. And they also get 3 shorts. And honestly, when I think about it, as one person doing it, I feel like that is still so much more content than what they were getting when I was purely streaming by itself, or what they'd be getting if I was just releasing videos weekly, or if I was just, just releasing shorts.
Yeah.
By having that spread, it just feels so much more natural. And I already feel pretty good about that option because in the past 48 hours, I have had 925,000 views on my shorts.
That's
on my YouTube
crazy.
channel.
That is amazing.
That the subs must be going through the roof with that.
It's something like 1,000-ish a day right now.
That's crazy.
You're about to cross the 10K mark, I think.
Yeah, I got on the day where I got 400,000, it was 650 subs. And now I've got another 400,000 in the past 12 hours. So it'll probably be about that as well. But I don't think subs matter, right? At the end of the day.
No.
Subs at the end of the day are just a vanity metric. They have been for years. It's all about the idea of increasing your circle of your algorithm, getting people into your system, And the way I see it is isn't it weird that like a lot of people would think 800 or 900 and what was it, 920,000 views. Oh yeah, that's just short views though. And it's like they don't understand that all 920,000 people are people. Like it's not like they're not just like some random number. These are people. Human beings are watching this content, right? And that's wild. That is a wild number of people. But we're so desensitized to giant numbers because Mr. Beast is always like, look at my 38 fucking billion people.
It's true.
But like, and then all of those people, if they enjoy it, they watch more.
Yes.
And it builds my circle, and my circle expands. And then maybe they'll come for my stream that is on the 6th of January or whatever. And it's scheduled there. So it's been sat there this whole time. Or maybe they'll go watch my videos, which they do. There's been a lot of people going back and watching my videos. And I really am enjoying trying all this out and knowing that it all connects, right? I feel so strange because I was a Twitch streamer for 2 years, right? And I was a stream scheme YouTube. I was creating on YouTube, right? And then I had a TikTok. I had 3 different platforms and they barely spoke to each other.
Yeah.
Right? I had to struggle so hard to get them to talk to each other. But I don't have to do shout outs. I don't have to do CTAs. I don't have to do anything. I just upload content and then I can literally watch as they go through and check out my other content.
Yeah.
And enjoy it and subscribe to it and comment on it or go react to the polls that I'm posting as well. Like, I'm talking about the uploads, but I did a poll that went out last night at midnight. Okay. So it's been 10 hours since then. And it was, which starter Pokemon is cooler, Totodile, Mudkip, Piplup. And it's had 9,000 votes already in something like 10 hours.
Can you explain that to me? Because I'm a bit of a layman when it comes to this, right? So I know that it goes out to your subscribers and stuff, this poll. How do other people find said poll? Like, because
they're just they're on your YouTube homepage. Or if you go to, like, for example, if you go to your YouTube app and you just scroll down for a little bit, it'll eventually show you a post.
But
so for example,
you've got to be subscribed to them, right?
No.
Oh.
That's just a post by someone.
Right.
Probably shouldn't show that,
actually. Right, because it's kind of, I can blur it if you want, just let me know. It's kind of like the algorithm knows that you like this type of content, so it goes down and shows you, okay, sorry.
Because
that makes sense.
Shock and horror, like, people, it's one thing that I think people always miss, right? There is no way to interact with your audience on Twitch unless you are live.
Yep.
If you want to interact with them, you have to send them to Discord or Twitter. And that is a tiny retention rate, right? To move them across. And then keeping them active over there is tiny as well. I was talking to some guy and in the Stream Scheme Discord, and he was like, oh, if you have 100 viewers and you shout out a Discord, surely you'll get like 10 people minimum. And I was like, no. Unless you got like some really high value, like to join the Jackbox game, you have to go there and get the code.
Yep.
You can get like one and two people per shout out.
Yeah.
Right? And then of those 1 or 2 people per shout out, they're probably not going to engage unless you give them a really good reason to engage.
Yes.
Right? And he was like, wow. And I was like, yeah. And then they removed the ability to email your subs.
Yep. So it's
Said
like,
they'd bring it back. They said they'd give us something, but no, it's gone.
there's nothing.
There's nothing. There's no way you can do it, right? Now imagine if on Twitch, right, you had not only the ability to upload a TikTok and it to actually be sent out to people who would click it, which don't get me started on everyone saying they want a TikTok feed on the front page of Twitch. No one goes to the front page. Shut up. But then also imagine you could make a post that would not only go out to your audience, but anyone who also enjoyed the categories that you stream.
Yeah.
Like, the tools are just out of this world in order to build an audience. And I just don't understand how people are still trying to, like, argue or debate or say, like, oh, it just doesn't have the tools. It just doesn't have what I want. You know what I mean? It's like, channel points? You care that much about channel points? I had 9,000 people interact. I don't even have 9,000. I didn't even have 9,000 subs last night at midnight. Right? Like, I had only like 8,500. I got 500 in the last couple of hours. And people are like telling me, I can't move over to YouTube, or I'm not going to spend any time on YouTube because I just don't have channel points.
Yeah.
What?
At least, like, YouTube's gone through, you know, some UI changes over the years, but I think Twitch is just, you know, they've just stayed the same. They really would need to kind of, I'd think, just kind of like rebuild the website in a way and incorporate some of these other things that they could do. You know, utilize clips better, or, you know, utilize certain things better. Like allow community posts on Twitch the same way you can do it on YouTube. Like, there's so many things that they could do and implement, and it would require a complete redesign of the website and how you use it. But I think it's possible. They've got the team, you know, to do it.
They do. And I think the thing is, you're right, Eljay. People don't go to the front page of Twitch nearly as much as they do YouTube, because YouTube's kind of like your all-inclusive. Here's the recent thing from But why can't Twitch do that? Why can't they make those moves to make the homepage of Twitch something that you want to go to? And it starts with doing those little things, right? It starts with, like, here's what's going on at the moment. Here was the biggest moment of someone's stream and all this type of stuff. Because at the moment, if you go to the front page of Twitch, you've got your carousel, and then you've got your recommended, and, you know, here are some live categories you may like and things like that. They need to redesign. It's something that they can do, but it doesn't seem like they want to do or are doing, because we've received no word of it. They more focus on the actual features inside the stream itself, which is great. Don't get me wrong. That's always fantastic, but it doesn't drive people to go into different channels. And that's why you can't grow on Twitch. People say, but X did it. You know, this person did it. They grew all on Twitch. No, they didn't, unless they were in a big collaboration or they found something offline to bring them there. Because how am I going to find somebody? If I don't know the person's name, I'm like, what was the thing? You can't just type in funny moment in Halo where person fell here, right? You can't look for a creator like that. But on YouTube you can, because it becomes like a meme thing, like this 30-second video clip that you're like, oh, and who did that? Oh, it was this person. And then you go to their channel. It's impossible to find somebody from the clip section, and it's really disappointing.
I think the homepage should be completely different if you're logged in. So like if you're not logged in on the Twitch website, the homepage could be what it is, maybe a slight redesign. But if you're logged in, they could do so much. We're like, here's some clips from like your most watched streamers that you missed, you know, that you might not have seen this week. You know, here's like 2 to 3 categories from like these streamers that they played this week. So you can kind of like, when you go on the website, immediately you've kind of seen like what some streamers that you watch regularly have been up to. And then there might be a little recommended section, like here's some recommended clips that are in similar categories that you've watched, you know?
And what about like, you know, when you do squad streaming, right? Wouldn't it be great if you went on your homepage, you're logged in, and it says, this streamer that you follow recently did a squad stream with this streamer. They collaborated together. And then it shows you some of their work, and you're like, oh yeah, they're similar. I like this vibe. I'll go check them out as well. There just seems to be all these opportunities that just aren't taken up. And Eljay is right in the fact that I don't think anybody can make the argument that YouTube is not an all-inclusive space for content at the moment. It is shorts, it is long-form video, and it has live. It is everything that you want, and community posts, I should say, like Twitter, like Instagram, things like that, where it's just like, here's a daily thing about my life, here's, you know, X information, here's a poll. It has everything that you need in this one hub that people don't have to click on a link and go, you are now leaving YouTube to go to blah, 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 blah. Are you okay with this? It's you click on it, you go to that section of YouTube. It's a safe space, as they say now. People are going to say that it's not. And I'm like, I get it. But you know what I mean? Like, it's so easy to navigate. And that's why YouTube is really, really excelling. And again, as I said last year for my predictions, I think short form content is going to be king this year, in terms of, if you don't have time to do like 10-minute videos, 5-minute videos, whatever it is, you always have time to put together a 30-second little short and put it up there, knowing that you can get people. Just look at Eljay at the moment, 900,000 views in 48 hours just from shorts, mainly, I would say. Eljay, is that right?
Yeah. It's about 30 or 20,000 from big videos.
Yeah,
but but the rest is entirely from short format. And a lot of those views on the big videos are coming from people who found me through shorts first and enjoyed it, and then getting recommended it.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It makes sense, right? Like, people are quickly consuming short little videos, and then there'll be one that, you know, really resonates with them. Like, that was really fun. I might click on their channel, see what else they make, and then boom, like, they're already down the rabbit hole. It's too hard to ignore. And for some people it might be a hard pill to swallow, but that's just the reality of it, is that YouTube is proving by just, you know, making a better platform, giving creators good tools, that they are the better platform to be on. And it's just the proof is in what we're seeing and what we're doing.
The proof is in the pudding.
The put it in the pudding. But no, I'm really glad that we're sort of discussing this, Eljay, because one thing that you did in our Discord was you made a new goals channel for us, and I took that as the opportunity to really sit down and thoroughly think through my goals and actionable goals and how I was going to achieve them, and why I was setting them as my goals. So today's gonna be a great opportunity to sort of really delve into that and go into that. And I guess I can get started as well if we
Well,
want.
remember, we're not doing necessarily goals, more just like the actual actions you're doing. Yeah, like it's more just like, because I feel like a lot of people are going to hear. The thing that kind of frustrated me last week, great podcast, but the thing that frustrated me last week was we kept talking about the things we wanted to achieve, but everyone wants to achieve the same things we've said, but we didn't explain exactly like how we are going to do it. Like, what is our locked in? What are we pushing? What are we going to do? How are we bringing everything together to actually achieve something? So that's kind of the concept. It's more about not necessarily the goal, more about the idea of what are you actually doing on a month-by-month basis or on a day-by-day? What steps are you putting in place to be productive and to create and to grow?
Yeah. Cool. No, that makes sense. I think For me, honestly, so my my initial period is, so by the time once I get my my next video out on the channel, that is kind of like my official starting point of, okay, I want to target, like, I'm going to be, wanting to release a video at least every 2 weeks. And to do that is essentially going to be properly prioritizing my time and being more efficient with it. We've talked about previously using Notion. I'm also using like a proper like to-do list function, like app that goes across PC and my phone. So that is going to be my way of kind of planning out and prioritizing, breaking everything down into little pieces, and then targeting it one by one to get, be efficient and get the video out and meet the deadline.
My thing has been broken down like this. I've had to look in terms of what I have to do per week or per month, right? But I've broken it down to weeks. And for me, it's always been, I know that I work maybe 1, 2 casual shifts, possibly a week, if not 1, if not none. So it's kind of like it shifts things around. But because of that, I usually stream about 3 times a week, right? After every stream, I have to make a short. If I can't make a short from the stream that I just did or another idea that I did, I know that stream wasn't good and I've got to fix things, right? So every single time that I do a stream, I'm going to make a short completely after and schedule it for the next day at 8 a.m. On my main channel over there, and also release it on Instagram and TikTok at the same time. So I've got like a kind of nice thing of like, oh, it popped off here, didn't pop off here. It was dead on all 3 of them. Who knows? But what's the common factor there? So I'd like to also look back at the previous week and go, this did well, this did well, this did crap on this platform, but did great on this platform. So they must like that content more there. Give me more kind of like a breakdown of that. Also, every 2 weeks, I would like to release a video. But I think what I'm going to do instead is I would like to do 3 weeks to make a really good video and 1 week to make kind of like a cut down of a game with some narration over it. So the current video that I've got going on right now is called The Unachievable Achievement. And I'm doing a lot of work into it. I've edited it all. I filmed it all. There's been some problems with audio, so I have to refilm some stuff, which is always like, anyway, so I'm doing that, but I think I need more time on a big concept because I just don't have enough time to really put all the effort in when I do have a casual job, when I am doing everything around the house. I just have to be reasonable with myself. Don't push myself too hard that I hate it. I want to enjoy it. And every time that I do it, I'm enjoying it. And as we were talking about recently, Eljay, I should say in the Discord, is the fact that the biggest thing that I do is you distract yourself. You know what I mean? Like if it's like music on in the background or you have the TV on while you're editing, you always get distracted. So for me, what I've done is I've got one of those standing desks. So I stand the desk up so I've got more energy. I'm standing on my feet like I'm there to do something. I put my phone away. I don't have any YouTube, any Spotify, whatever you listen to, and I just focus on the content. I do that for 1 hour and then I take a break. 10, 15 minutes, just walk around the house, do whatever, message people back, then back into it for an hour. And I do it, and it's really paying dividends for me. So in terms of that, two videos a month, 3 shorts at minimum a week, and then obviously my 3 streams, and then the rest is going to be take a month by month basis if I need to change things around. But that is my initial plan for 2023 and how I'm going to achieve it.
On the focusing topic, I think it's really interesting. So what I was talking about in the Discord was the fact that I've been doing really well with the editing of the short format, really well with the scheduling of the posts, and really well with coming up with ideas and recording big ideas and doing that stuff. The bottleneck for me has been editing the larger Eljay videos, so the big ones, like the 15 to 20 minute videos, not the short format. And the reason I'm struggling with them, I feel like, is because they require a large time investment in the actual edit, and the edit can't be thought of as I'm having fun catching every single Pokemon for a video.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I've been really struggling. And one of the reasons that I've not been doing it is there's been a lot of procrastination, or I'll have YouTube up, or someone will message me on Discord, or there'll be something, right? And so yesterday I had to sit down and keep working, right? I've had this Mario Party video in the timeline for ages, and I had to get through a big chunk of it. I have a thing that four of my days of the week, it pops up on my to-do list and says, edit Eljay video for 45 minutes. I've incredibly struggled to get through that to-do list, right? And most of the time when I do those 45 minutes, it's actually maybe like 10 minutes worth of editing, and the rest is like watching footage or doing stuff or getting distracted and stuff. And I'm very aware of that. One of the things that I've always been aware of is I am quite honest with myself about how much work I got done. So what I did yesterday was I set, on Apple, you can set focuses. So I set a focus that my phone would only buzz and my watch would only buzz if my wife was ringing or messaging me, or if an alarm was going off. And then I set a 15-minute alarm. I sat down with a coffee and I just edited for 15 minutes. The alarm went off. I hit repeat. 15 minutes. Alarm went off. I hit repeat. 15 minutes. In those 45 minutes, I didn't check Discord, YouTube. I didn't stand up. I didn't get distracted by anything. And all I did was edit. I got more editing done on that Mario Party video than I've had for like 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's also, I felt like the editing was a higher quality. I actually caught myself laughing out loud when I was watching sections back before I had even done any polishing or anything, just like assembling bits together. Because I was more focused, I wasn't getting distracted. Things were just connecting. The footage came together nicer. It was more enjoyable to watch and stuff like that. So I just felt like it was so much better. And so I think it comes down to three things. There's one called, I think it's called Paramount technique, which is the idea of you do 25 minutes worth of work, you stand up, walk around 5 minutes, sit back down, do 25 more minutes, right? And then I also combined it with another concept, which is called scent incentives. And the idea is that you have a drink or a candle or something like that that you will drink. And the idea is that that sense, so whether it's smell or taste or sound, tricks your brain into saying it's time to work, essentially. And because I made a coffee, it was tricking my brain into being like, you are in work mode now. Because I usually only drink a coffee either in the morning right before I start work or for like podcasts or whatever. And so I had combined a few things. One, removing all distractions. Two, the timer system. And then three, the idea of tricking my brain into thinking it was work time. And it was just wildly successful in terms of actually getting that work done. But I'm also very careful. I'm not going to try and use that technique for all of my work. That's just purely going to be for when I need to edit or really push through something, because I am very aware of the fact that I don't want it to lose its effectiveness.
Yes.
Right? Like that's a big part of it.
Yeah, I think there is a grind effort that comes, because I think people have these big ideas of what they want. And with those big ideas comes a lot of work. And there can be a point where you just push yourself too hard that you just don't enjoy it. And I think that that's what people really need to figure out, is start with something small that is manageable. Because when you have those big things of like, I need to do all of this at the same time, because I need to release all of this content, definitely that's the overall goal. But if you're starting out, just go for like a short, you know, like I'm going to do one short this week and it's going to be really well done, like edited, perfect, timing, everything, boom, push it out there. Because to me, the biggest thing that I had was, I know that I had to do these streams, right? And because of that, I didn't have time, because I was doing my casual job on top of it, and I was editing this podcast as well, and doing the Samsung video, that I just didn't have time to do my own thing. And because nothing was ever out there, it was never mine that's out there, I felt really down. But as soon as I did a recent short that I just did the other day after stream, because this was my new goal for 2023, I did something, I achieved something immediately, and I put it out there. If it fails, whatever, dude. At least I put something out that can overall be a success. You know, as we said, we talk about them as lottery tickets. You just put it out there and hopefully one of them will pop off. So to me, the most manageable thing is just put something out there, because you know that at least you've done something and you've achieved something and people are seeing that success. So big thing for me.
On the topic of seeing success, can I quickly say, I have learned over the last few weeks how much people in the streaming space have no concept of success other than average viewers. Like legitimately, I have had so many people comment on Stream Scheme or comment to me or talking about other people, because I've released these videos where I've had streamers on Stream Scheme come on and like they talk about, answer things, you know, for example, like Reapz, you were in one of them, and then the other one was just using 5 people I recorded like 9 months ago. It's taking me a long time. But essentially, people keep going, what average viewers these people have? And I have to be like, they're all Twitch partners, dude. They've all got like 100 more viewers than you. Yeah. Right? Like you should listen to these people. All of these people have either done it full time or part full for the last like few years. These are all talented people. You could check the description. You can see that. But then also, because I've stopped streaming on Twitch, people have lost the ability to see how successful I've been. They'll go, oh, his follower count's like 30,000. That's good, but he hasn't streamed in a while, so I don't know about that. It's like, holy crap. How do you like, they have no concept of seeing any kind of success outside of average viewership. And I've got this 2023 goals, not just in our Discord, but in the Stream Scheme Discord. And I'm losing my mind, because the only goals people are posting are like, I want 5,000 on TikTok. I want 10,000 on YouTube. I want this many on this. And I'm like, you don't control that.
Yeah.
You have no control. I feel like I understand if you're a beginner, but the channel has in big bold every time someone messages saying, please read the top post, please watch this video, which talks about SMART goals. And people are like, I still think I'm going to try to get 200 average. And I'll be like, how many do you have now? And they're like, 2 average. And I'm like, you want to get to 200 average this year with no goals outside of growing your average? Like, what are you doing? Like, what do you want? And they'll be like, I'm just going to stream it. And I'm like, ah!
It's like, I'm going to make a cake and I've only got flour. You know what I mean? Like, you can't make anything out of that. You need to add all the different ingredients that are YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, anything to get your following up. But it is very frustrating. And I think it is very smart goals that you put out there, because people do lose focus. It's all about numbers. It's all about, this is like a company thing. It's like, we expect this to go viral. How you expect it to go viral? What are the steps that you're taking to make it go viral? And people just don't understand that there is a big leap from, it's like, do you remember the South Park episode where it's like, we steal underwear, we get the underwear, and then there's just a big question mark, and then they go profit. You know, that's what a lot of people have left out, is that big question mark where it's like, I'm here, but I'm going to get here, but I don't know what to do in the middle, but we're going to do it. So this is a really good thing, because when you did post that, Eljay, I was like, what's an actionable thing that I can do to achieve that? And it really is that simple of like, I have to, on this day, do this. That's what it comes down to. I have to, between this hour and this hour, apply myself, not get distracted, and actually get some results.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt like when you're responsible to someone else, like an individual other person, that you are more likely to do the work?
Yes.
Yes. If it's for me, I'm like, I'm cool. You do a great job, Reapz. You know, but when it's like, you've got to deliver it on this day, you're like, oh, I got to deliver it on this day.
The holding yourself accountable is always the hardest thing.
Yeah.
How about you? I've like this. You talked about like limiting distractions, for being more efficient, because that is something that I'm trying to be better at as well. And obviously, you know, being medicated for ADHD has helped a lot. But in saying that, right, you still have to do everything around it. It's not the magic, like you take it, oh, you're fine. So like for me, I think everyone has like a different level of stimulation needed to kind of be in that zone.
Yep.
So like for me, you know, like you minimize Discord, set your phone to do not disturb, close Twitter, everything, right? Some people may find having music in the background work. Some people don't. I find having kind of like lo-fi type music, like instrumental, is just like adds enough of the like an extra stimulation to kind of put me in the zone and kind of allow me to focus. And so I just need to do more of that, because it just took time to kind of find that rhythm. And using like the work timers, where it's just like, yep, I'm going to work for like half an hour and then just take 10 minutes, refresh the brain. All right, go back in.
Yeah. I find it is tricky. Yeah, I wasn't trying to say that everyone should use the same method as what I described. I was just more passing on like
No.
what worked for me yesterday. Yeah. I find that a lot of people really, when they first start out, struggle with giving themselves a work environment at all, because it's usually their office or their bedroom. Like, it's where they game. And I still have that problem, because like when I play games with mates, I'm here in my desk. This is also where I work, right? And this is also where I stream. And so it's a very mixed space. And so what I've been doing recently is I will, depending on the work that I'm doing, or depending on the mood, like, am I gaming? Am I recording? What am I doing? You know what I mean? I'll do different lighting. And I know this sounds really dumb.
No.
But like, the idea is that like, I'll be like, oh, okay, so I'm going to, I don't know, record for Stream Scheme. I go all orange, right? If I'm editing, I go not blue, it was like pink or something like that. And then if I'm going to be like playing games, I will go onto like this really light blue, where it's like I'm just chilling.
Yep.
Right. And I've been doing that to try and like make sure that my room somewhat feels like a different space, because if it doesn't feel like a different space, then it's very hard for me to get into the right zone. Like, I also watch movies here. You know what I mean? I watch movies. I do all sorts of stuff in this office that isn't work, but then I'm expected to like trick myself into being like, I'm at my office. And it's just,
it can be tough. Do you find that, like, because when with your MacBook, at least when you're sort of like script writing or generating ideas, do you find like taking your laptop and kind of finding a space elsewhere in the house to kind of sit and focus? Does that help? Or
I think it depends. If I'm scripting for like an Eljay, like if I've got all the footage, I like doing it here. Like, it feels way better to do it all here. But Stream Scheme, if I have my MacBook, I will take it to anywhere else and work on a Stream Scheme script, right? Like, anywhere else. The best place I've found is actually like a cafe, to be honest. If I take my MacBook off to like one of the local cafes near me and write a stream scheme script there, I will pump I will pump it out so fast. Like I can get like 2 or 3 of them done. And it's not a matter of being distracted in that regard. I think it's more of a, I'm on the clock.
Yeah.
Like I have to get this, I need to get this script done before I finish my coffee, or else I have to buy another coffee or I have to leave. You know what I mean? And it's almost like I'm in, you know, or I also part of me is like, I got to make sure I'm working. I can't get distracted because I don't want to look like one of those hipster dickheads who rocks up, drinks his coffee and then barely does any work on his laptop he's got in front of him.
Yeah, and they like put out a whole section for themselves with the nicest view, and you're like, I really wanted that seat, and they're just not doing anything.
And you're like, you're not even typing. You're just staring. What are you doing?
You've been here for an hour doing nothing, and I wanted that. Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. So no, I don't know. There's a lot of different ways. It also comes down to the day, to be honest. Some days I'm really on top of it. Other days I'm not.
Yeah.
But I think that's the hard part, right? Especially because I work 7 days.
Yes.
Like,
it's
you don't.
I would like to very much put it. I think it's really nice when you have a plan, right? But you also have to have a contingency plan, which I think a lot of people forget, because sometimes something will come up. Maybe you're sick, maybe something's happened over here and you got to run off. Like, I don't know, it's a public holiday and you need to quickly get groceries, and that throws your whole schedule out. You know what I mean? You need to have a backup to something where if you don't do what you set yourself to do, there's a big thing where mentally you feel down. Mentally you feel like, oh my God, how could I let this happen? But if you've got a contingency plan of like, I was expecting this to happen, or I knew that, if this came up, I still have this amount of time to do it later on, and you do it, that is so much better for you. Because yeah, of course, there's going to be things that like pop up that you just can't help. And you can't make excuses of like, now that because that happened, I'm all out of whack, so I'm just not going to try anymore. I'm just going to go back to the way that it was. And I think a lot of people fall into that. I fall into that. At the moment, I'm really energized to do stuff, but I know that it wanes. Sometimes it's just like, oh, I just don't have that drive. I don't have that motivation. But you got to push through it, which is the hardest thing for me.
Yeah. Well, I guess, yeah, because we all tell ourselves that drive and motivation are one thing. And as we know, it's another. It's completely different, right? I also have another trick that I'll give myself. That what I'll do is, if I'm struggling with, motivation or drive, I will say, I just need to do it for 5 minutes.
Yes.
I just need to script for 5 minutes, or I just need to edit for 5 minutes. And if you actually focus on that 5 minutes, you'll find yourself, when you get to the 5-6 minute mark, would have hit a rhythm and you feel good enough to do it.
Yep.
If you sit down to do the 5 minutes, but you're also, watching hentai or something, right? Like, listen, you're probably not going to be able to hit the right moves. But once you're actually in the 5 minutes and you actually focus on the 5 minutes, you'll naturally fall into being able to go for a lot longer. But again, everyone's different.
It is.
Yeah, I it happens to me so often where I finally start getting into the mood or to the rhythm, and I kind of get that drive, but it comes too late, and then like in half an hour I've got to go start stream, or I need to go out and or I've got to go to work or whatever, and it's just frustrating. It's like I finally got in the mood and like I have to go do something else.
Yes, that
most
happens
frustrating
a
thing
lot
ever
as well. Like, there's a time when I'm like, when you get into an editing groove, it's the best. Like, time is not there, and you're just like, yes, I'm doing it. I'm feeling it. Motivation, everything's popping together. Great. And then it is that thing where you've got to stop for whatever reason. But it's that fact of like, there are times when I have sat down to edit something, and it takes me twice as long, 3 times as long to do something because the motivation isn't there, and you feel bad about it. But at least you do it, right? And I think you're completely right in the sense that, like, if you do the like analogy of like going to the gym, people don't like going to the gym because it's a lot of exertion, it's a lot of energy and stuff. And it's like, oh, I've done a whole day of work and now it's like 7 p.m. It's dark out. I haven't had food. I can't go to the gym today. But it is that thing of like, if you go to the gym and go, I'll just go there and do a 10-minute run or whatever it is. As soon as you're there, you push yourself more because you're there and you're like, I may as well make the most of it. And you feel so much better. So I think you're right, Eljay. That is a great tip, that you just have to do it, even if it's for a short amount of time, because as soon as you do it for a little bit, you're like, well, I'm here now and it'll be stupid of me to leave because I just got to do it again tomorrow. So I'm just going to keep pumping through, and then you sleep well that night. That's definitely
the self-discipline.
The self-discipline is the best achievable goal that you can do yourself. Yeah.
I honestly, I don't really know how to necessarily always be consistent with it is my biggest trick though. And I know that it's better to never It's better to always be willing to give yourself a day off.
Yeah.
I think is a big thing, right? And I feel like the more you do it every single day, the quicker you are going to get to a point where you're being less and less productive every single day. Whereas if you give yourself a day where you legitimately just don't do any work and you actually find yourself relaxing, getting your brain fresh, you know, touching that grass, you'll also come back and be much more productive. But again, very tricky, right? Like it's such a hard balance. And I was listening to the Trash Taste podcast, and they were talking about how they work 7 days a week, all three of them, and they don't have proper days off. If they see a day off, they fill it with a recording session or something like that. And I'm just like, I don't know.
I don't think
I don't
that's
know
right.
how they're doing it.
I don't think it's right. Honestly, it's just for a mental state of mind, because you do need time off. And we've talked about in the past where we always feel guilty when we've got time off, as like we could be doing more, right? Like you can never just have that thing of like, I can just relax and do nothing. But I think it's so important, again, to make the stupid like gym analogy. But if you work out every day, it's the stupidest thing you can do because your body needs that time to recuperate and, you know, put the muscle fibers back that you like, you know, tore and everything. It's the same with creativity. If you are trying to be creative every day, you're not really being creative, right? Because again, you're pushing yourself beyond the means where it just becomes generic and average and everything is not like fresh and new. But when you've got hindsight, like if you take an edit, you do an edit and you wait a day and you come back to it, you can see it more as an overall picture than you do if you're just sitting there in front of the thing, watching it over and over and over and over. It loses all meaning. Yeah. You've got to take those days off and not feel guilty. And that's easier said than done because I always feel guilty when I've got free time. I'm always like, I should be doing more, but I'm like, no, have time to yourself because that's going to be the refresher that you need to get through the next week.
Oh, I know that too well. Jesus Christ.
The other day, last night, I was like, yeah, cool. This is my, like, I'm going to relax. I've clocked off. It's like 5 o'clock or whatever.
Yeah.
Or maybe this is like 2 nights ago. I was like, okay, 5 o'clock, clocked off. I had dinner, hung out with Claire. Then she went to bed around like 9:30ish. And I was like, oh, when am I going to find time? And this sounds like such a dumb concept, but I think like, it makes sense for my job. But I was like, oh, when am I going to find time to breed those 250 Pokemon eggs?
I just imagine you as that like woman, you know, like where she's like putting her head against her hands, looking out the window, black and white. When am I going to find that time to get the 250 Pokemon breeds?
I was like, I guess I'll do it now. You know, I guess I don't need to record it. I can just say I did it. And like, so I sat there on the couch and I was just like farming these 250 Pokemon eggs that I need for my stream on the 6th. Yeah. And like, I watched all of Erased. I don't know if you've seen Erased, Nick. I know you haven't.
Yes, Erased is amazing.
Such a good anime. Watched all 12 and a half or 13 episodes in one sitting. I was up till 3 a.m., but I've got 300 Pokemon eggs now. Yeah. So, I don't know. I just, it's so funny, isn't it? To think about our jobs.
I just want, you know what I wish? Like the next time you have to do like a big breeding thing for a video, there's just like a 5-second clip of Claire just filming you sitting in bed with your Switch, just going, just breeding the eggs.
Going to the doctor and going, we've got a case of too much Pokemon, so we need to win you and go over to fucking, I don't know, Minecraft.
The meme where she's trying to hold all the like lemons or whatever it is, and it's just me with Pokemon eggs. Like,
that's your thumbnail. If that's not your thumbnail, I don't know what is. My babies.
I don't know. I think it's a toughie, right? I think at the end of the day, I think I can understand how Trash Taste do what they do and what they mean when they say that, because I think when you're at a certain size that you're getting enough money that you're pretty much set for life and that you can just only do the things you enjoy and you're doing the things you enjoy and that's what's getting you the money.
Yep.
I do get it. Also because like a lot of their recordings are as a group of friends. They go and do like a road trip and stuff like that or whatever it is, which inherently can be a refreshing way of doing it themselves, right? Like it's brutal work when you watch the behind the scenes, but like you can also see that it is still a good refresher, you know? And I think I'm excited to get to the point where the channels that I'm also they don't edit themselves anymore, which is probably a big part of it, right? They only do the fun parts, the recording and all those things, and then they give the editing off to others. Yeah. Which I'm excited. Like I'm excited. I love editing for myself, but I would be excited to get to the part where someone else was editing consistently and I knew I could trust their style. Because that way it's like, hey, here's a recording, here's the voiceover and the script. Bam, take it. Okay, I'm going to record this other thing now, do this other thing. Yeah. And I think I would love that. I think I wouldn't get tired whatsoever if I was literally just doing the scripting, recording, thumbnail part.
Agreed.
right? Like I honestly, I do love editing, but I love the actual creation process before and after the editing so much more.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Editing's hard, man. Like it really is. But it's great when you do it. Like you're learning it and you do all the things. Like again, I was on, I recently bought some of the Mr. Horse plugins and stuff. And I was like, I used to do Boris FX Sapphire, like when I worked at Disney, and god damn, I miss that suite of things. Like I just want it so bad, but it's so expensive. But you know, it's like one day, if I can hit this and get this amount of money, I'm going to treat myself to a month of Boris FX Sapphire. Yeah. Like it's so sad, but I'm like, oh, dude, it'll be so good. But what I was going to say, boys, is we've talked a lot about, you know, getting those goals and stuff, but we were talking a bit beforehand about what we did in our time off. And Eljay, you saw Avatar 2 and you saw...
Do not do this to me. Do not make me get started
Avatar,
on this. You do not want
Eljay
this.
He wants to open that can of worms.
Eljay was like, this is the greatest film ever. Like the narrative structure, the 5 acts. It was...
Dude, I drank 2 jugs of ginger beer just to get through that 3-hour fucking film. I was sat there ordering ginger beer to my seat because I watched it not in fancy. We've got some like semi-fancy ones.
Right.
And I watched it. It's 3 hours. That is the worst film ever. And I know I just like made fun of people who complained and stuff about Detroit Become Human, but I have to say this, and I know it's toxic, but the people who say to me, oh, I was just going because I love the visuals, or I was just going because it looks beautiful. Do you just read picture books? Do you want to go read Thomas the Tank Engine? You need some story with your pretty pictures, all right? Like legitimately, this was so fucking bad. It was the worst thing I have ever watched. I walked out of Don't Worry Darling the week before. And by the way, yes, I know I'm being a snob. I worked in this industry for 8 years, okay? Like legitimately, I was doing the film festival routes. I was doing it all. I was at the pitch meetings for this shit. We've done Netflix pitches, and I hate fucking all of it, right? And I'm jaded as hell because I spent so much time with these people. The Australian film industry sucks ass, right? Like in the terms of the sense that the people are sad, defeated, angry people. And I got out of there before I became it, and I'm still one. But Avatar, oh my God. It was so shit. Can we, okay, I'm going to do a little spoiler, okay?
Yeah.
And you can just, I'll put my hand up on screen now, and people who are audio listening, just, I guess get fucked. When my hand goes down, it's no longer a spoiler.
Okay.
Could you imagine setting up an entire concept in the first film, unobtainium, the mineral that everyone wants, and then in the second film being like, nah, we don't want unobtainium. We want whale brain juices to stop human aging now. Why introduce another element? Sorry, my hand's still up. Why introduce another element?
Listen.
Oh my God.
To those who are wondering what Avatar 2 is about, let us know, because when I watched it, I was kind of like, this, as I said before, is like a display that you see on an OLED screen to show how amazing it looks. That is what the film is. Like, it looks gorgeous. It looks amazing. Some of the things about like, wow, this is like, how do they get it to look so realistic? It's a blend of CG and actual live action. And it does. It looks fantastic, but there is absolutely zero plot. It's just watching like, you know, here's a little story about the kids getting along, but now they don't get along, but now they get along again. It's just so weird that this is what we call one of the most successful films of all time, because I believe it did cross over the $1 billion mark this past week internationally. So, and again, we've still got 3 more sequels on the way, apparently, which is always great.
Legitimately the worst fucking thing I have ever watched in my life. You're wondering why I didn't walk out of it. I would have walked out of it if I wasn't drinking. if I wasn't like legitimately like having a jug of beer every 3 seconds, I would have been walking out of that fucking film. It was so bad.
Did you see
I can't wait to go see it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I watched it as I looked up how James Cameron wanted it, and he said in his interview, you should watch this in 3D at full high frame rate, and that's the way you should see it for the perfect visual spectacular. I want to point out, 3D is a shitty fucking gimmick. Okay, I am done with 3D as a concept. Anyone who says I'm supposed to do it, half the time I was like having to pull my glasses closer to my face just so it would actually work, and then the other half of it, it was just the high frame rate mixed with the fucking 3D made me feel like almost like everything was blurry. Like, I was like, this is meant to be crisp and clean. Why? Why did we do this in 3D, James Cameron?
Well, that's the thing as well. Like some of the scenes are 48 frames and some of the scenes are 24 frames, and they use like a visual smoother over it. And it just look, you could tell the difference immediately.
Oh yeah, the moment it gets all blurry. And also the underwater didn't even look that good. Like, everyone kept saying the underwater would look, everyone kept saying the underwater looks good. The underwater didn't even look that good. To be honest, it looked really fucking fake and really stupid. And then it would have looked good, but then you had humans for some reason.
Yeah, we didn't have
For some
humans.
reason, you're like, we're just going to add human characters. Also, Reapz, can we all point out the human character at the end saving the other human character? What?
I know.
What?
It didn't make any sense.
He's bad.
And then he just left him.
He's
He's up. Oh, there's one bit that I want to talk about. I'm going to put spoilers up as well. One bit that
Yeah,
I would
go
love to
for
talk about right now. I'm sorry, Nick.
Tell me.
there
Don't
is-
apologize. I don't care for spoilers. I want to see it for the experience of seeing it.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Okay.
Read a picture book.
So there is a bit there is a bit where there is a human child that lives with the avatars, right? Like a different breed, but they brought him up as their own. The mother of Sully's partner, right? Zoe Saldana, uses the child, the human child, of like, if you kill my baby, I'll kill your baby, because this is to like the main bad guy in the first one is back, but in avatar form. And so it's like, I'll kill your child.
What?
And so she starts to cut across the kid's chest, right? And the kid's like, right? Right, like that. And then they do the exchange and everything's fine, right? But then the human child goes back to the avatars where the mum was like cutting across the chest and like, everything's cool. Don't even worry about it. I'm back with you guys. What was that, Eljay?
Yeah, but also the whole thing's broken too, because he goes and fucking saves his daddy, who his dad tried to murder his family who raised him.
Yeah, like, if you're going to save him, stick with the dad. Why are you going back to the people that were trying to kill you? Like, you're dispensable to them. It was just the weirdest set of like, why is this happening? What are these relationships happening right now? But I'll be very interested to see what you think, Nick, when you do it.
I'll be like, what? There was a plot. I was distracted by the visuals. So.
You might need to, Reapsy, when we start this conversation, quickly splice in for the audio listeners.
Jump to this point if you want to.
Jump to this point if you don't want spoilers for Avatar 2 or something.
Yeah.
Because, like, legitimately, fucking what the hell, man? He's already finished recording the third one, and he's halfway through recording the fourth one, and he has a fifth one planned.
Yep.
This man needs to seek professional help. This is seriously... This is the definition of insanity.
Yeah.
Do you think the film would have been more enjoyable if you watched it on mute?
No, not at all.
I think the film would be a lot more enjoyable if it wasn't, firstly, 3 hours of just like meandering plot where the whole thing is to get to a point where there is a big shooting fest at the end, Nick. Like, it's a big spectacle of like, this happens and this happens and this happens. But it's such a long build-up that there's so much in the middle. You would just be like, cut it. I don't give a shit. Nothing's happening. Cut it. But James Cameron's like, this is my vision. This is why I've invested so much money into it. It's
here's the thing. I don't mind a long film. I watched Reverend. What was the fuck? What was
Revenant?
The Revenant. Sorry, I watched The Revenant. Fucking amazing.
Still need to see
Now that is a long film that's good. I think that's like 3 hours as well.
that bear
The
scene.
Revenant.
Oh my God. Oh.
Yeah. The Revenant length. I'm pretty sure that's a really long film as well. It's 2.5 hours, 2 hours, 40 minutes. And like, but that film, that was 2 hours, 40 minutes of fucking beautiful, not just the visual spectacular, but the story felt good and rich and intense and dramatic. This is like a film student was told to film a minute-long short film, and they somehow made it 20 minutes, and you're sitting there like wanting to kill yourself. Like, legitimately. Sorry, that's a rare. Like, I taught as well, so like this is my life, is telling people make it like 2 minutes long and do it. And blah, blah, blah. Anyway, let's get back on topic. Got to say, Reapz, earlier you said if someone wants to start something, they should start with shorts, and I actually wanted to talk about that because I have a sneaking suspicion that anyone who says shorts are shitty content or they're not good and stuff like that, that's why they're not going to do them. I think that it's more so that they aren't skilled enough to tell a story in under 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that we did at film school early on was in our very first year, they made it so that our very first film we ever did was a 60-second short film. So it was a full short film. We had to tell a story in 60 seconds. And then we had to tell a full story in 2 minutes, right? And then we had to do a 5 minute and then a 10 minute. And then our graduate film was 15 to 20 minutes. Okay. And that was fine. But I remember in first year thinking to myself, 1 minute, that's not enough time. And I said to my tutor, I said, can I go like 1:30? And he goes, nope. And he said, I said, why? And he's like, if you can't tell a story in 60 seconds, what makes you think you're going to be able to tell a better one in 2 minutes?
Yep.
And I was like, oh. And he goes, I said, so I had to make it exactly 60 seconds. And he goes, well, not exactly, but yeah, you got to aim for 55 to 65. And I said, okay. And I remember thinking to myself, like, how influential those first like 2 semesters of being taught how to compress and compress and compress, get rid of the shit that doesn't matter.
Yep.
Right? Get rid of all of it. And I think a lot of people struggle to tell stories in that much time because they don't realize how little of what they're talking about or showing actually matters.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. Again, I was from the background of doing promotional materials. So what they'd usually do is go, Stephen, here is Toy Story 3. We need you to make a 15-second, a 30-second, and a 60-second promotion for this. And what you realize immediately is what is the basis of the story and how does this hook with the viewer itself? What's going to make the viewer want to watch this? And when you get in the mindset of what other people want to see rather than what you want to see as an auteur, that's when you can finally cut all the shit out because you're like, this is a really beautiful shot. Oh, people need to see my framing of this and this is in black and white and now I've only got the blue in the background. It's like people don't give a shit, right? What you see is completely different to what they see. And if you can't tell the story like Eljay said, you are not doing it right. And it's the best skill that you can learn. There's a phrase in all of the industry where it's like, kill your babies. The things that you hold dear to you that you think are going to connect everything, cut it out because it's only for you that it's in there. And once you realize that you've got to let things go, the better you're going to be as a storyteller. Because again, as a director, you are the eye of the audience. You are trying to tell the audience what they want to see and what's important. And a lot of people, again, just go for bigger is better, longer is better. This is the vision. People will be so absorbed, and they're not. So I think you're dead on the money there. Short form content is king to learn how to edit, how to tell a story, and basically how to do content in general.
Yeah, I think it's shocking, to be honest.
Yeah.
It rings so true. Like it really makes sense when you really kind of get into the nitty gritty of it. It's 100% like what you need to do. You need to learn what is the most important thing that you need to keep and that what's going to hook someone straight away. And that's something I've kind of learned through trial and error and just over the years from making content. For me personally, like that short form is something I will definitely be putting more time into and researching what's going to work specifically from for like the tech channel perspective, which, you know, might be more informative. Maybe I can come up with unique concepts and things like that. But like for me, like you have to start somewhere. You need to know what people are wanting and go from there.
Yeah. I also think it's very important as well in terms of like, we can talk about storytelling, but we can also talk about tutorials because I think there's a lot of tutorials out there on YouTube that could be cut down so much.
Yeah.
Like it's ridiculous. Because the great thing about like when you go on Google and you're like, how do I add keyframes in Premiere Pro? It comes up with like a little video and we think from here to here is the best place for you, right? And when you watch that and you're like, yeah, that was pretty much dead on Google. And you think now that you have that ability that Google thinks you only need the viewer to watch from here to here on Google search. If you do that and you make a short of that and you put it out there, that's going to pay dividends because it's like, yeah, we've noticed that people watch this area to this area of the tutorial a lot. So you can go into your analytics and go, oh, a lot of people watch this section of my tutorial. I can cut that down into a short, which I'm pretty sure that Nick, and that's like a big thing for you in terms of you do amazing stuff in OBS. You know a lot about kind of the tech that goes into content creation. And again, you have such a wealth of knowledge that you can do those little shorts and just go, this is what you got to do to change your DPI on the fly when playing a game, you know, or set this profile, which a lot of people don't know how to do. To be honest, I don't even know how to set profiles with this at the moment because I just set it on the one profile. I'm like, I'm good. But I think a lot can come from not just also storytelling, but from informative and educational stuff. The shorter, the better. Cut to exactly what people are trying to hear. They don't want to see a 30-second like logo flying in of like, this is the Reapz channel, like boom, 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 boom. It's like, cut that shit out. Just go, this is how you do the thing, and there's 30 seconds, and you're out. Because people will, I think, like it a lot more, and hopefully follow you because of it.
There's something I wanted to like really sort of delve into where you know, there's a lot of sort of obviously tutorials for the same thing that exists for like people just kind of putting it out there. But for tiny things, shorts work amazing for that. And what's great is like I can crack out a short for something basic and simple, you know, that might, you know, might have already been done, like how to install OBS plugins manually, for example. Because with the idea is that when I make, when I need to make longer videos on like a concept, like a 5 to 10 minute video, I can just link back to the short instead of linking back to an actual video that doesn't need to be 5 minutes, and be like, hey, check out this short real quick if you want to like learn how to just input plugins manually. All right, cool. Now come back, let's continue on.
Yeah, and also the fact with like shorts as well. Like if you have like 5 different shorts and it's like, this is how you do this in Premiere Pro, or this is how you do that in, you know, OBS, you can then take those shorts and make it into a long form video in terms of like, you always see those, here's the top 7 things that you didn't know that you could do in said software, you know, and then they go, this is a really cool thing. This is a really cool thing. This is a really cool thing. And it's like, it's just so easy to do because you like have those things. Like you look at like Nutty's list of, you know, here's 5 OBS plugins that you didn't know about. He can easily take those 5 OBS and just make them into shorts, and vice versa. If he did shorts, he can make them into a long form video. It just works both ways. And I think it's like, do it. Do it. Yeah. It's so simple.
That's one of the reasons I'm so excited for this year. Like I have a plan, I've got ideas, and it's just honestly having the time to execute and making sure I execute on that time efficiently. Efficiently is the key.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. I was going to say, so we did the whole wrap up of the year of 2022. We're now in 2023. We've got our goals. We've got our actions. Is there anything else that you boys would want to add to like what you see as like something that's really going to drive this year? Because I know that, you know, there's going to be more stuff instituted into YouTube. There's going to be more stuff instituted into, you know, TikTok and Twitch and everything like that. Do you feel that if you could only focus on one platform at the moment, do we all agree that it's got to be YouTube?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
I don't have anywhere else that I think I should be spending my time, to be entirely real. Like, I think a lot of people are probably expecting, I don't know, I'm just thinking about it, and I think a lot of people are still expecting Twitch to be the place for streaming or TikTok to still exist, but I just don't see any real point. Like, I know YouTube has issues, but I just really have absolutely no point to why I should be putting my time anywhere else yet. You know what I mean? Like, I want a platform to come out and challenge it. I want to be proven that something else is worth my time. But I physically, as a content creator, cannot find another place to do that.
That's true.
I've been seeing more and more people following suit and going down to three days a week for streaming as well. Because everyone's kind of, well, I guess anyone who, you know, understands is, you know, they're cutting down on the stream time to give themselves more time and to work on other things, to work on YouTube, to work on a short form. Like we've discussed many times, right? You know, cutting back on the streaming means less of that stress and that mental pressure of you know, putting yourself live so much. So it's just the benefits it has are fantastic, but it's going to be quite the interesting year. Like I really hope from a competitive sense that Twitch really kind of does some, you know, some really hard hitting changes that really kind of entice people and make some difference. But
I mean, they did last year and they reverted it.
Yeah.
Everyone's forgotten about the pre-roll streams where you could click on a stream and you get to watch for a minute before it popped up saying you want to keep watching. Click on the actual stream and join the chat. Like here's the thing. Twitch do updates. They do like 4 or 5 feature updates or updates in general every month. It's just very few of them actually stick around.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. I'm kind of, to be honest, I'm kind of done with hearing about people say they're cutting down to 3 days. Not like you guys, but I see this tweet every single day, or people telling me about it every single day, and they say it's because they want to start focusing on YouTube, and then like a few weeks later I'll go check their YouTube and they've done nothing.
Yeah.
And I'll go, okay, so you cut down to 3 days and you feel like you're being more motivated, but you're not actually spending that time, right? And then like 6 months later, they're still on 3 days. They're streaming 5-6 hours every single time. And their TikTok is empty. Their YouTube is empty. They've maybe uploaded 1 video in 6 months. And I just want to say, if you're listening to this and you're one of the people who's thinking, I'm going to cut down to 3 days, you can't just cut down and then be like, look at me, I'm taking the right steps. There is kind of an actual process after that, which includes releasing the thing.
Actually doing work.
I feel like Twitch streamers are like going halfway and then stopping.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just like, I don't know. I'm finding it really frustrating because I keep getting all these tweets being like, took your advice, LJ. I've cut down to 3 days now and I'm gonna be doing this. I'm like, sweet, cool. And I'll check them out. And like, they've been doing it 3 days now for like 6 weeks and they've done nothing.
Yeah.
It's like, you didn't take my advice. You just took time off.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Basically, that's true. It's very
and that's
true.
Fine. If you want to take time off, you take time off. But that's not what I was talking about, and that's not what people are suggesting. And I don't know. I don't know. I feel like the moment I stopped streaming, a lot more content started going out.
Yeah.
Right. And I knew I had to do that, or else I would not be, or I would be hard on myself. Right. Like I knew if I didn't do that, then I was letting myself down, and I was letting down people who enjoyed my content.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know. I'm getting a little bit tired and frustrated seeing people be like, I'm going to grow on TikTok this year. That's why I'm cutting my stream down.
And then
they just don't do anything.
Yeah. And they don't release anything. No, that's right. And I guess the time is now though, for like, actually, if you are hearing this and you feel like it is you, now's the time. Like it is the start of the year. This will be released, I think on the, 9th, 8th. I don't remember, but it's the 3rd of January. Yeah, it's the 3rd of January today for us here in Australia. And again, there should never be a time where it's like, oh, you know, this is the perfect time for me to start doing things, because there's never a perfect time for anything, right? We've got the new year. You can't be like, I'll wait until 2024 to start now, because that's the perfect time to start, the start of a new year. I think it really is just as long as you're doing something, like right now, if you're listening to this and you feel that tinge of guilt, do yourself a favor, go into whatever editing program you have and start doing it. Just start doing something so that you have something to put out. Because again, when I feel down about myself, it's because I haven't released anything or haven't done the steps that I should be doing to get that. And of course, you're going to go through times where you do it and you don't do it, and you just have to shape up, because the only person you're answering to is yourself at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like nobody's going to do it for you. And again, people aren't screaming for you to do it. So it's up to you to actually go, I'm going to put content out there that people will be screaming for because they want more of it, which is always a nice feeling, I think. Like we talk about, there's a section of, you know, share your wins. And I see a lot of people in there posting YouTube comments of like, love your videos, want more of this, how have you not blown up? And it's a nice feeling, isn't it? That you've got somebody who doesn't know you at all, is just watching you for your content. And they're like, I love what you're doing. Do more of it. That's such a nice feeling.
It is. It's really great. Like, and you know, and you may not get that on the first video. You may not get it on the second video, but just as you keep pushing yourself to put that content out, but make sure it's something that you're proud of when you do complete it. You know, eventually you'll hit that moment. Like the video might not explode massively, but you still might get out there to a few people and might actually, you know, find someone who sees it and goes, this is really cool. I really like this. I want to see more from you. It only takes that. And then all of a sudden that is the injection of good juices in your brain. You're like, yes. And then you just kind of keep going. But because it can be really tough at the start. But as one of the greatest actors of our generation has said, just do it.
Just do it. Make your dreams come true. Sorry, I'm just...
I don't know. But I'm going to read out Mr. Beast, a quote from Mr. Beast.
Okay.
Because you just mentioned how I may not get on the first video, I may not get on the second video.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to read out a quote with Mr. Beast, and then I'm going to explain a misconception I think a lot of new creators have. If you're just getting started on YouTube, do not expect to pull any type of viewership in your first year. If this isn't something you can accept, don't start a YouTube channel. If you can accept this, then you need to do this. Make 100 videos. It doesn't matter what they are, because they will be terrible. And do something you like doing. But do something you like doing. Your first 10 videos will be garbage. Then make 10 more. These will also be garbage, and so will the next 10. But eventually things will start to improve. You'll get better little by little, and the best way to improve your content is to make content and see what people like about it. Then you'll notice something with your 101st video. It will be a whole different league from your first video, which is spot on. Mm-hmm. The whole concept isn't a matter of my videos need to get views right now. It's a matter of you are creating a huge backlog of learning and skills and talents and things like that, right? If you only want views, you're not going to be successful in any shape, way, or form. And I think that's also why people struggle so much with short format content, is because they look at it as a way to get quick views, not as a way to tell stories and have fun with it, right?
Yeah.
Now, the misconception. YouTubers who start out, and a lot of YouTubers in general, look at YouTube and they think the algorithm, what it does is it delivers your videos to subscribers, right? The idea they have is that YouTube's algorithm is designed to help creators get their videos out to people. That's not how the algorithm works. You have to completely break that idea and get rid of it if you want to be a successful YouTuber. Instead, you need to think of it this way. The algorithm finds good videos for viewers. It doesn't push your videos to viewers. It finds good videos for viewers. And it is completely different when you actually think about it. One of them is a selfish way of looking at the algorithm. I am a creator. I am creating. You must absorb my content. The algorithm will push my content to you and you will watch it. And the other way is, no, the algorithm is designed to allow viewers to find content that will entertain them, that they will enjoy, that they will go through those things. And so when you completely shift your focus to thinking about what will people enjoy, what will they click on that makes them go, this is fun, this is interesting, this is something I learned, there's value here, you start completely changing your approach to content creation, right? And I think that's a big part of it. It's not just 101 videos and improving every time. It's understanding that these videos aren't, you're not taking from, those views you're getting, that's not you taking from your audience. Those views come from giving to your audience, right? And the more you give, the more views you get.
Yep.
And I don't know, I feel like lately I keep seeing people talk about YouTube in a way that's like really inherently wrong and selfish and backwards. And it's like, no, that's not how it works. YouTube isn't creator first. YouTube is viewer first,
yeah,
right? And by being viewer first, they become creator first. Whereas Twitch is neither. Twitch is profit first. And when you're profit first, you tend to lean towards giving creators more abilities to profit. And that takes away from viewers, right? YouTube's built the completely different way. Profit is still a part of it, but they went the route of, if people enjoy this, we'll make more money.
Yes,
right.
They went definitely for like the Google AdSense approach, where it's kind of like where you can obviously also pay to not have it over the whole of YouTube, which I think is a great thing, because I use YouTube Premium myself because one, I don't use Spotify because it gives me YouTube Music, and I find I get a lot more music on YouTube Music because, you know, they got their ways. And I just like the fact that I am giving back, because I watch a lot of YouTube. If we could have like the year in review of the media that I consumed, I would have like cinemas 7%, you know, like Twitch 20%, Netflix and stuff, I don't know, like 30%. And then the majority, I would say 50% of my consumption is definitely from YouTube, the short videos. I really like 10-minute videos, 20-minute videos, the things that you can just click through, right? And just go, but this is what I'm in the mood for. Because when you go to a cinema, you know that you're going to be there for at least an hour and a half, right? When you go to TikTok, you know you're going to be there for 30 seconds at most watching this clip, and then you go to another one. With YouTube, it's everything. It's like, here's the shorts, here's the medium, here's the thing. We've got long form content, we've got everything. And I learned so much from it, and I do love it. And I think that I give back more to something that I use a lot than when you've got to individually subscribe to a channel on Twitch. It becomes very expensive very quickly. And again, you've got to be very select in who you're subscribed to and what you expect to get from people, because most people are not going to be subscribed to 20 channels over there. That's a lot of money. You know, that's a lot.
Also, we should point out as well, like, yeah, with YouTube Red as well, when you watch someone's video, they're still seeing like profit from that, from your view.
Yes. Yeah.
Whereas, you know, you go to Twitch and you pay, you know, the $8-9 USD a month for Turbo, right? Or you don't see any ads, but that doesn't, and all that helps is Twitch.
No, they do, that you will earn still. So that is one of the misconceptions. People, if you buy Twitch Turbo or Twitch Ad Free, as they're now trying to rebranding it slightly, your creators will still earn a little bit when those mid rolls run, just nowhere near as much. And also their ad incentive will be way lower if someone is ad free. So it's one of the catch-22s of Twitch's ad incentive program right now, is that in December, let's say, by the way, ad incentive program, everyone blew up about those numbers, and those numbers are now fucking trash, which is hilarious. I've asked like 24 people, and every single person has showed me their ad incentive numbers, and they're fucking dreadful.
They've gone down
anyway,
considerably.
Yeah. But essentially, like the way it works is like, say December, you do a big, you do a whole month where you're running 5 ads every fucking hour or whatever it is. And people start subscribing to get rid of those ads, and you get 200 new subs, right? Next month, if 200 of your average viewers are all suddenly subbed now, you're going to earn way less on your next ad incentive, because how many people are watching ad free takes money off of your incentive, which is one of the things that I feel like why Reapz, for example, has always had quite low incentives, is because this is also from their FAQ, by the way. This is information, is that Reapz's average viewers are very loyal and they're always there. And you have such a high sub count to your average viewers. Like I think you sit around the 700 to 800 mark, right?
Yeah, it's been less obviously because people are leaving, but I would say right now.
And you cut down to 3 days as well.
Yeah, so it's around like 600, I'd say at the moment. Yeah.
But you average like 150, which is still massive in terms of like what that ratio is. Because normally the way it runs is if you have 100 average viewers, you'll probably have double that in terms of subs.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's kind of what the average streamer gets. So 1,000 viewers, 2,000 or whatever, right? Because you have roughly, you'll have a bunch of people who are normally subbed and then a bunch of people who are gifted, right? But if your loyal audience of like say 150 average keep coming back consistently and they've all got gift subs attached to them or they've all got subs attached to them, your amount who are actually watching ad free is so minuscule that it's nothing, right? It's brutal. So it's really tricky. And again, that's from, I'm open if I'm wrong about this. I'd love to know more. But when I spoke to Twitch and when I read their FAQ, it specifically says one of the major things that affects it outside of, hours streamed, average viewers, outside of where the people who are watching are from, say if they're in Turkey, the ads might be less. One of the other big factors is how many people are watching ad free. And more people watching ad free means less money for the ad incentive, vice versa. Opposite is true, obviously. So it is really, really tricky, especially because the only way to give people ad free is for them to invest money into the platform.
Yep.
Right. Whereas on YouTube, people can use ad block if they really don't want to, and that's fine. Right. Like whatever. Hey, speaking of February 1st, though, February 1st will officially be the day that every single shorts creator who is obviously part of the YPP program will be monetized.
That's crazy.
Oh, yes, that's right. It's happening very soon.
Ads will start appearing in the shorts feed between shorts. So like you'll swipe and there'll maybe like a little ad there, and then swipe and maybe a little ad there. And I'm really, really excited. I have a sneaking suspicion. Obviously, we're not going to earn anywhere near as much. I have a sneaking suspicion that obviously we're not going to earn nearly as much from shorts as we would from main videos. But I'm hoping it's a minimum of like 30%. So like, if you earn like say $400 a month, you may earn something like $100 from shorts. Yeah. Right. Which is huge. Don't get me wrong.
I'm going to say income is income, is it not? Like the fact that we're getting nothing at the moment, like again with TikTok as well, it's really hard to get that income if you're not part of that, whatever kind of program. But the fact that they are now opening it up to people who do have the YouTube partner program, which is what I'm vying for, which I know is what Nick's vying for, it's going to be so good that I know that even if I do put something out, at least I'm going to get some sort of income back from it. Because, there are those days where you do stream and you get no income. And that's not a bad thing. It's just like one of those days, And it's nice to know that also it's evergreen so that maybe it'll pop off later. The big thing that I'm having problem with when it comes to YouTube Shorts at the moment is they're kind of redoing their whole system before I think February, hits. So it's kind of like, nice and layered and everything. But I can't upload YouTube thumbnails at the moment for the shorts, and it's killing me, dude. It's got like some of the worst thumbnails I've ever seen, but it's like midway through.
Don't stress. Don't stress. If I've learned anything, it doesn't. I thought I used to care. I used to pick one of the three to like maybe be really careful and stuff, but it does not matter. Like legitimately, I was getting obviously like 30,000 views daily, right? For a while there, outside of the days where my Lechonk video was booming and I got 200K on that, right? But like, do not stress whatsoever, because since like December 28th, things have just been popping off, right? Like I've got over 1 million views in the space of a week. Yeah. Right. I wish it was February 1st. But like, it just goes to show that the changes that they brought to the shorts feed a few weeks ago since like December 15th were good changes in terms of like, they obviously made it so there were less testing stages in the algorithm. They more figured out what your platforms were about and like allowed things to go, which has been good because clearly they now know who my audience is and that's what's happening because I'm consistent with the topic that I could create on. So therefore it's smarter for them and easier for them. And then the second thing is you're right. They're absolutely setting themselves up to make this, you know, for Feb 1st. But I was talking to the creator liaison on Twitter the other day, and he said that iOS is coming very soon. Ooh. So you'll be able to go on iOS and pick the frame you want for your thumbnail very soon. But I'm also a firm believer it doesn't actually matter.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got a question in regards to the monetization. You said that the ads will be in between shorts, right?
Yes.
So let's say they've watched your short, right? They swipe and it goes to an ad, and then the next short is Reapz' short. So how do they work out that your short, you know, generated revenue or generated like views? Like how does that work?
They haven't said.
Okay.
They haven't said. No one really knows quite yet, but I feel like that it's going to be, I feel like the way they're going to think, because they know what people's pathway is, like it's all mapped. They can see on an account, they watch this person, this person, this person ad, this person, this person, this person. And obviously the more times you appear in that funnel alongside ads, the more money you'll make. And so that's, therefore I also like that it's not pre-rolls either, by the way. So it's like your short, if your short's not the one that kicks people off the platform, right? If your short keeps them watching, which is the rule of YouTube and every platform is keep people on the platform, well, then you're just going to appear more in their feed.
Right.
And if you appear more in their feed, you make more money, right? So they haven't said how it splits between who gets the money, but I imagine it'll probably just be like whoever's there percentile-wise the most, right?
Cool. I do think, obviously, if it goes like short ad and then the other short, I think the ad will go to the person previously in terms of maybe watch time of said short or something, because I don't think go to the next person, but we'll find out. Like, again, I'm just trying to think from like a logistical point of view, because if you go short ad, then you go to the next short and you immediately swipe out after 2 seconds, it's like, who they're going to give that to, the person who watched 30 seconds or the person who watched 2 seconds. But
if you just swipe through, you know, if you swipe 2 seconds per short, because you're like swipe, oh, maybe I'll watch this one. Yeah, you know, that's also I guess, but they'll have tools to work that out. But it's just, I'm going to be interesting to see how they tackle it.
Yeah,
I think I'm personally, there's no evidence to say how much you'll earn yet, but the way I see it is like I do think it'll be like a 30% of the CPM. So like if you have a $10 CPM, you're probably going to be earning like a $3 CPM for short format, which again is totally fine because the views and the watch time and stuff is so drastically high that that's still massive for people and for creators. And I actually think that, to be honest, I know for a fact that brands are really interested in getting onto short format. And I think there are going to be a lot of brands who are very excited to get their ads shown to certain people.
Yeah.
Right? Like say you really, really want to target people who like Modern Warfare 2. You can do that so fucking quickly with your gamer headset. You know what I mean? Or say you really want to target maybe heavier guys who are trying to be active and they need to wear like underwear that goes down further so they don't chafe when they go for walks, you know, they'd probably be able to target you pretty well.
Not that we know about that. We don't know about this. It's just...
It's, you know what I love about this though is there's going to be so much more self-reporting.
Oh yeah.
So there's going to be so many people being like, YouTube, why am I getting ads in my shorts feed for fucking furry porn 45 whatever? And it's going to be like, my brother in Christ, it's targeted.
It's you.
I'm the one getting ads for thick-thighed men who need longer underwear so they don't chafe.
So you
know what I mean?
It's so funny because I think about that as well, because I usually play like Google Feud on like stream. There's like just like, you know, going like Family Feud type stuff. And sometimes there's some responses in Google Feud where I'm like, who the fuck is this person? Or why the hell is this like one of the things? And so then I'll type it into Google to figure out who this person is. And I'll be like, oh, fuck, it's going to be like, you know, Andrew Tate or something. And that's going to fuck up my whole like advertisement algorithm. So now I've like taken the conscious effort to go into a different browser, Brave browser, to type in my query so it doesn't fuck with my goddamn ads, which is...
I am an incognito fiend for so much.
Yeah.
Wow, this video is interesting, but I don't want to see more like it. Right click, incognito, right? Oh, I'm going to search up a question to do with cooking. Incognito. Like I do it for everything so my algorithm stays so fucking clean, right? Like I can't stand it. But also because I do that, it means that if I click on like music, say I want to watch like Digimon World OST lo-fi remix, right? For like 6 hours from just listening to this. And it'll be like, I'll be jamming out. For the next like week, all I will get is fucking Digimon remixes. Because my algorithm is so tightly tuned into what I want to see and what I don't, that the moment I venture out of it, they're like, do you want more of this? Do you want more? And I have to be like, don't recommend, don't recommend, don't recommend, don't recommend.
Did I do this? Like you mentioning about people like outing themselves is just all I can think of. The like the Taylor Swift song, "Hi, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me."
I don't know it. I don't listen to Taylor. I'm sorry.
No. It's like people are using it as audio on like TikTok and like on Instagram.
Right.
And I didn't know what it was until I found out it was a Taylor Swift song.
That's what I was also going to ask in terms of the shorts as well, because obviously, like TikTok, you can use, pop songs, things like that, or they're at the top of the chart. They take, is it a 40%, 45% cut or something from the ads?
For shorts, it's 45%, 55% to YouTube. So the 55% to YouTube it's kind of reversed. So on normal videos, it's 55% to the creator. But the theory is, and it hasn't been fully confirmed, but the theory is the reason why short format, the split is 55 to YouTube is because that 10% that they're taking extra is going towards paying off music. Because there's a new shorts program that allows you to use copyrighted music in your shorts as trending sounds. And they're using the 10% of the income they make from it to pay off the record labels.
Right.
I personally have a sneaking suspicion it's a lot more than 10% they're giving to those record labels. But I get it. I understand why they're doing it. And again, hasn't been confirmed. That's just people's theories.
Okay. Interesting. But I can understand why, because I'm thinking like, do I continue using copyright-free music, or if they're going to take the 45% cut anyway, or whatever? Like, this is me if I ever make it to the YPP, that type of thing.
I think it's pretty easy to get to a YPP these days. I think you just got to release pretty consistently.
Yeah.
I really think a big part of what I was saying before in the terms of like, you got to swap your thought of the algorithm. The algorithm doesn't deliver your videos. The algorithm supplies good videos to creators, right? It not creators. It pulls videos for viewers. I think a really big thing that people, once they start thinking like that, is they realize their sub count doesn't determine how successful a video is.
Yeah.
Because like, if you think about it and you look at, say, like my content, when I took over my content and started editing it myself, right? I made, let me just pull it up and actually check the exact number. I made weekly videos, okay? And I did 15 minutes to catch Pokemon, then we battle. I ranked every starter Pokemon. Then it was part 2 of 15 minutes to catch, and then we battle. Then I did Wonder Trading 101 Magikarp. So I'm at 4 videos, right? 4 videos, but a lot of shorts have been going out. But 4 videos actually edited by myself on my topic. I did using AI to make better Pokemon than Game Freak. So that's 5 videos. And at this point, I was at 5,000 subs, but 2,000 of them, maybe 2,500 of them were dead subs in the sense that they had come from stream and they were useless, or they'd come from stream scheme. And then my 6th video was the one that got the 200,000 views, right? Again, only have like 6K subs, and most of them are dead subs. And at the end of the day, it wasn't a matter of, oh yeah, of course they're giving those videos out. Eljay's got lots of subs, or Eljay's got a big following. It's like, no, that's not how it works, right? People think that YouTube is only going to work for the big creators. It's not true. I wasn't even monetized. YouTube wasn't even making money off that video, right? That video got me monetized.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are running around feeling like, oh yeah, it's really, really impossible to start as a beginner and stuff like that on YouTube. And it's like, no, the reason that's holding you back isn't YouTube's algorithm. It's not an unfair algorithm. It's literally just that you have to put the time and energy in to learn what works, keep putting it out there, keep improving. And as you do that, eventually one of them will be good enough that it's like, hey, we're going to give you a couple hundred views.
Yeah.
And when that happens, you go, oh, that's what it wants. And you lean into it and you slowly keep going and you slowly keep going. It takes time. Yeah, it only took me 6, but that's because I was uploading loads of shorts and because I have experience from Stream Scheme.
Right.
Right? Other people could take 100, as Mr Beast says.
Yeah.
And it took him hundreds. Like, he was uploading daily for years to no one, right?
I would like to make a quick point is when people watch Mr Beast videos these days, it's, very stylized, it's quick cuts, it's everything, he's got it refined to exactly what he believes the algorithm wants. I would like you to go back to one of his first videos that popped off, and I believe it's called How Many Rubber Bands Does It Take to Crush a Safe? Something like that. You can go back. It is a fucking terrible video. Like, it is ridiculously bad. Like, they try and do little skits with like a figurine Thanos, and I was watching, I was like, what the fuck is going on here? This is not what I expected. But I honestly think his retention went boom, like, in terms of when that video was out.
Oh, I just clicked on Mr Beast's channel and fucking exploded in my
I was going to say, mate, you should probably have some earmuffs before going in there. But the thing is, the thumbnail and the title is what made people click on it. And that's why it's got millions of views. Like it's literally the safe that's used in the video is nothing like the safe that's in the thumbnail. He uses an old school safe. You see rubber bands around it. He's looking at it and it's like, I think it's a number of rubber bands he's put around it or something, like very clickable stuff. The video itself is terrible. But I think he realized that what Eljay said just then, it's like, what do people want? And how are they going to click on it? And if you can deliver that clickable content and everything in between that then makes them watch it more and more and more, that's when you've hit the exact kind of apex of what they want. And again, I'm trying to find that myself, but I am going with my recent video. I'm putting a lot of work into it. Not that I think it's going to pop off or anything, but the fact that at least I know I put out a good quality video that I'm proud of, that I think has a good premise and a good thumbnail. Because again, I usually went with I don't know how you boys went, but when I did videos, it's like, here's the premise, and then I'll make the video thumbnail afterwards. But then I'm like, okay, well, I'll make a good video thumbnail first with a good title. And will that title tie in well to the video idea that I already had? So I mapped out the thumbnail. I've mapped out the actual wording. I've got like 3 different options for what I think could work well. And now I feel so much better in my direction for the edit, which I don't know if that rings true.
No, it absolutely is.
Yeah.
It's story and concept first.
Yeah.
Also, can I add? I just want to add just a small extra clarification here. Mr. Beast, one of his first videos to blow up wasn't actually the one you just mentioned.
Sorry.
The ones that actually first blew up for him were how much money does insert giant creator's name make ? He started with, I believe, PewDiePie and said, how much money does PewDiePie make ? And that got fuckloads of views like 8-9 years ago, right? And this was after he'd been just aggressively grinding out Call of Duty videos that were just terrible, like absolute trash. And he made the PewDiePie one, and the thumbnail is like a classic PewDiePie, like face with like a bunch of question marks and dollar signs on it. And then he goes forward a little bit. How much money does White Boy 7th Street make, right? How much money does Markiplier make? How much money does FaZe make? How much money did Gangnam Style make? And he had so many things like this. And that was like one of the first moments he realized, oh, people like clicking on things that have to do with big money. How much money does a YouTube video combined make?
Yeah.
You know? And he just went through, just aggressively went through and looked at all of these different people. How much money does Jacksepticeye make? And he did this for so fucking long, right? Like so long, like a year or more he was doing videos like this, doing other stuff alongside, of course. And I don't think he made his first real, like what we call a Mr. Beast video until like just a few years ago, to be honest. Like Beast goes camping, didn't go wrong, didn't go sexual. Like what the fuck is this shit? Like this is 6 years ago. He had 20,000 subs.
Yeah. And then he found that secret formula that, you know, people will instantly react to or want to see given the thumbnail or the title.
I think one of the first videos I saw from him was one of those like, oh, if you take your hand off the thing, then you lose. Like the last person in the circle wins this much money, or last person wins the boat or something. That was one of the first videos I remember seeing. And I don't know how recently he started doing that.
Can I also say something I've noticed from his videos? Eljay, I think you're on the channel there, but if you can scroll through the most recently added one, tell me how many of them have his mouth open like this. He's like, he's always mouth open.
It's the same. It's the same photo.
Yeah.
He said this before. He said he'll sit down, he'll take like 200 of similar photos, and then he'll just let them all do it, and they just like can Photoshop it if they want and stuff like that. But that's what it is. But it's always no. There's no bottom teeth. It's front teeth are open.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that should be a Mr. Beast challenge. Do your best Mr. Beast face.
Yeah.
I like it. The latest YouTube short TikTok trend.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, I don't have anything against Mr. Beast, by the way. I worry that maybe people will think that what I was just saying there was bad. But like, I think that the really interesting thing about his content really comes down to the fact that he really fucking sucked. Like, he really sucked. There are people out there who are far more talented than him right now who are giving up after 2 videos.
Yeah.
Mr. Beast's success didn't come because he's talented. And no offense to him, it came because he's fucking committed. Like, he persevered, right? And that is a talent in its own right. But like, at the end of the day, if anyone was willing to actually sit down and put the amount of energy in that he did, they could be successful as well.
Yeah.
Right? Like, for example, all three of us here are better editors than clearly he was, even at the start. I'd say I'm probably a better editor than he is now, but at the same time, he knows probably a bit more about flow for what's going to work on retention rate.
I think it's also,
but I just look at it.
Yeah, he knows what works for his channels, not other people's channels, because everyone has their own editing style. And for him, it's like, I need an instant kind of endorphin rush to the people watching. I give away this money, give away this money. I do this challenge, I do this challenge. While with ours, it's kind of like more narrative storytelling.
Yeah, I find it really interesting. That's all. And I think that a lot of people are quick to make excuses and quick to make assumptions about what's going to work and what isn't going to work. Yeah. And the reality is, look, this guy's been doing this for 10 years, right? His big views have only been happening the last like 3 or 4, if that. So if you really wanted to, you could absolutely start right now and start pumping this content out. And you can probably, to be honest, there's also better resources now to learn how to make thumbnails, better resources to learn how to edit. There's more experienced people out there sharing what they can do. Like, he didn't have any of that. He had to learn a lot of this stuff for himself. But also, I think one of my favorite thumbnails from his is, do water repellent shoes actually work? And it's the worst Photoshop ever, but it has 100 million views and it's the funniest fucking thing. Yeah, I'll send a screenshot so Reapz can put it up on screen. Right. But it is just so fucking funny and it's so good.
I kind of like it, obviously it's taken him a long time to get to the point, but I think one of the appeal and the fun of, you know, his content is that it's not just sort of like a flex of how much money he has, right? It's more so like kind of, it's almost childlike in the way he thinks of like, hey, what if we just kind of did this dumb thing, right? Which would obviously require you a lot of money to do it. Like the one that comes to mind is when they played hide and seek in a football stadium and he got like 10 other creators to join in for it. And I'm just like, yeah, like that just seems like it's just completely not feasible at all. But he's able to do it because he can hire out the stadium and then just do it. And I think that's like really fun in that regard. But obviously, you know, you got to get your way up there to have enough money to even attempt something like that.
Yeah, grandiose.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know if you need to make the money to be able to make something like that, okay? Because you said yourself, it's not about the money, it's about the concept, right? You said it's about the childlike concept, the fun thing. Ryan Trahan had no money and he made amazing concepts, right? And now he's huge. So like, I think that at the end of the day, one of the big things you need to remember as a creator is it's all about the concept. What can you do now that with no money, that is your unique concept, right? People have been doing surprise trades for fucking ages, but no one had surprise traded 251 of a pig that had been a meme on the internet, right? And people hadn't done it in a way that you added my personality to it. No one had sat there for 5 minutes saying the word egg as they dropped an egg. Like, that's just, there are different ways that everyone adds to it. It all comes down to concept first, idea first, and then put something, you know, extra into it. Put your personality into it. You know, it's the rule of why I say, look at Ambiguous Amphibian. That man is the absolute king of taking a simple idea and making the concept work, right? He tells a really good story. It's entirely concept driven. And it just works so fucking well. He has, honestly, I think if anyone wants to learn how to be a gaming YouTuber, you go straight to Ambiguous Amphibian and look at his concepts. Because at the end of the day, he does everything perfectly. It's not episodic, so you don't have to watch 20 episodes to catch up, right? It's not Let's Plays. They're interesting concepts. He also does live streams. He does all of it. But it's also so simple. I honestly think that anyone can spend 10 minutes in Photoshop and they'd be able to create most of AA's thumbnails from his last 25 videos.
Yeah.
But the reason they struggle is because he knows how to simply make them, right? Like, he knows how to make the overall concept work. He doesn't overcomplicate it. And I think that's the thing. I think a lot of people think, I don't have the resources or the money to do it. I don't think you need it.
Yeah.
I think you need a really good idea.
Yeah. I was meaning more specifically like kind of the big things of like, if someone had the idea to do hide and seek in a stadium, he's been able to do it more easily because he's got the money. But in terms from a concept perspective, absolutely. The concept is, oh, I've always wanted to try this. Can I, you know, could we do it?
Hide and seek in a haunted mansion, you know, like it's...
Or not hide and seek in a mall, you know, works. Hide and seek hide and seek in a forest at nighttime, you know, hide and seek in Pokemon Scarlet Union rooms, or you know what I mean? Like I played hide and seek in Skyrim Together, which is the multiplayer mod for Skyrim. You can literally like, I'm telling you, I promise you, it is not at all, if you want to do an idea that involves money, sure. But at the end of the day, the people who are successful, it doesn't come down to their resources. Yes, it helps, but it comes down to their idea, right? Like Mr. Beast has millions of views on a video from 6 years ago that did really well for him back then, which was 100 layers of saran wrap versus 100 layers of tissue paper. And the thumbnail is literally just him on the left covered in saran wrap and him on the right covered in tissue paper. That's all it is. It's just a dumb concept, but we like the idea, so we click it. And we think, I want to see someone get covered in 100 layers of this shit. You know? It's the same with Veritasium. Veritasium uploaded the video and it was called like, the effects of wind drag on a basketball thrown from 500 meters in the air, and no one clicked it. So instead he uploaded, watch this floating basketball or something like that. And the thumbnail was completely changed from all these numbers to just a basketball floating above a dam. Millions of views. Yeah. Right? It's all about the concept and why someone's going to go, yeah, I kind of want to see that.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I've got a really good idea just then that I came up ages ago and I was like, how can I institute it? But now it's kicked off. Anyway. We are nearing the 2-hour mark. Is there anything else that we would like to say, put out there for our 50-second, a whole year stream? Holy shit, stream? A whole year podcast.
I think that, look at this podcast, right? Let's be real. It's not exactly blown up.
No.
It's not exactly doing huge numbers or anything like that. Probably at this point, it should be doing more. But at the end of the day, we're still doing it. And I think the fact that we're actually releasing something and actually creating is really important, right? Because I think when you look at other creators out there who do topics about content creation and they talk about education in that regard. So like me with Stream Scheme or Nutty or any of these people, right? I think a lot of them aren't actually doing anything. Nutty at least does something. He does his own content. I do my own content alongside it. People do their own content alongside it if they can. At least they're doing something. Like if you're listening to this, can you just make sure you don't just listen and feel inspired? Like I don't want to inspire you. I want you to listen to this and then go do something. Like I don't be like the people who we see on Twitter who say, oh yeah, I've cut back, or yeah, these are my goals. And it's like, okay, you're not actually achieving anything by posting that or saying that, right? Yeah. Like actually get out there, do something. Like before this, make this your timer right now. Before next week's episode of this podcast comes out, do something. Like make something and release something before next week's episode comes out. Because if you don't, if in this entire week between 2 episodes, you can't release something, then you need to heavily look at your schedule and what's going on and start rethinking what's happening.
Yep. I think that's a good challenge. And also, can we also do the Mr. Beast challenge on top of that? So it's just... yeah. That's the clip. Okay, good. I'm so glad. I was like, I'm gonna do it. All right, Eljay, do you want to get us out of here?
I think we're dropping frames. I think it was dropping frames. It was fun first podcast of the year.
Yeah.
Excited to be back. Keen to be into it. Let's see how we go.
Yeah. Well, we still need to do that live stream as well.
Yes.
That we promised.
We do. We will definitely do a live stream, and we're sorry that it's taken a long time, but I think we knew that it was going to be low in terms of it was around Christmas time. It's around the New Year where everyone's busy and stuff, but we will get that organized and let you know the date. But I'm going to say bye from me, Reapz.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
See you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.